We want that for the program, publicity for the program, and now the expectations are certainly high, and they're high in our building as well. I think opening up against a top 25 program, which I think Cincinnati's higher than that even, I think they would do well in the SEC. I know that.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir. We finally got ourselves a depth chart here on a Toyota Tuesday. Print them in the office. Hang them up in your cubicle. Show them to your son or daughter, because we finally got it, because it's game week. As the University of Arkansas sent out the game notes yesterday. Tommy, you've got yours in front of you right now. We were looking at it a little bit yesterday. Some surprises, some questions, some comments. We'll get into all that this morning here on a Toyota Tuesday. You're more than welcome to text or call in at any point, 877-377-6963, as we get a rolling 4 days out from Cincinnati.
You can start to smell the ribs. You start to smell the cheese dip cooking for Saturday at the tailgate. I think that's everybody's just fired up about a reunion, getting back together, and for everyone, they're sorting their tickets out, they're getting them transferred, they're getting them sent to everybody. Just kind of starting to make their plans. And now, like you said, you got the depth chart, so you kind of know who's going to be on the field. You mentioned surprises, as maybe one of the reactions. I don't think there was really any surprises as far as what we felt was going to be on the depth chart. A couple of oars on special teams, but particularly in the offense, I think we would have went 11 for 11 trying to figure out who was going to be the first 11 out there. So not much from a surprise standpoint there.
What about defense?
Well, I think there were some questions about how they were going to line up maybe defensively, but, nickel, I think you had a hard time to figuring out which four they were going to put first. You could have named Isaiah Nichols, probably Eric Gregory. Some of the questions about on defense was who was going to be healthy. You knew who the linebackers were going to be. It was going to be Bumper Pool, and it was going to be Drew Sanders, so you knew that. The second corner spot, I couldn't have given you a name, and we had three names, and I don't think that's done yet, as Coach said yesterday. You knew that Jalen Catalan was going to be saved. There were just some spots that were locked down. There was more up in the air you couldn't have named a week ago on defense in about two spots, particularly the front line based on health, and that second corner. Hudson Clark gets the other corner, so I don't think you're done on that second corner spot either. I think there is, still some battles to be assessed there this coming weekend.
Well, I think on defense, there are the fact that Drew Sanders is really, I think, the lone transfer that's set to start at this point in time. Landon Jackson, second in the depth chart. Latavius Brini, second in the depth chart. Wyatt McLaughlin, second in the depth chart. That's what stood out to me is the transfers, because we saw three transfers come in last year and three big starters on the defensive line: Trey Williams, Markel Utze, and John Ridgeway. But those guys I just listed, plus, as I said, Drew Sanders is a starter. That's where I was kind of surprised to see that those guys were the backups listed currently. And that's subject to change. Who knows what could happen in the next coming days. But that's where initially it was like those three guys, Jackson, McLaughlin, Brini, are all backups at this point.
Yeah, hang on to this one. Make another copy and set this one aside, and let's see where it's at the end of the month, or maybe even next week. I think you could see some changes based on the game tape from week one. I think on the offense they're set as long as everyone stays healthy. If you had to say pick a surprise on the offensive depth chart, it might be, and I don't know that I'm not floored by it, but I thought maybe Cade Fortin's name would be an or at the number 2 quarterback spot, just based on the way we've heard Kendall Briles talk about him, the way we heard Sam Pittman talk about him. I really thought Hornsby would, just because of his tenure with the team, would be listed, but I thought Cade Fortin might be an or, but that's nitpicking there.
I don't think that we're going to see Malik Hornsby that much a wide receiver. I think that's been overblown so much this offseason. I think that we've used it and we've bit and we bit, and that's been a spectacle. We'll see him in some situations, but the idea that he's going to be out there 30 or some odd plays, I think is a little ridiculous. I think you'll see him in certain interesting packages and situations, but he's not going to get 500-plus yards this year. I'll be surprised if he has 20-plus receptions this year. I think that's been the most overblown talking point of the offseason is the dynamic use of Malik Hornsby at wide receiver.
I don't think anyone, at least not here. Maybe elsewhere someone's been saying that, but I don't think anyone here has been saying that Malik Hornsby was going to be the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. I think what they found out, and I think his involvement in the offense as a wide receiver was more highly considered when they didn't know what they had with Warren Thompson, when they didn't know what they had with Hazelwood, when they didn't know that Matt Landers could fly the way he can. And they found out that they've got some pretty good wide receivers they can trust and they can depend on. So, I'm with you. I think there'll be packages for him where he may go out there. I think there'll be more packages for him at quarterback. I think you'll see him come in situations, change your pace, but I think his playing time will be limited from either spot.
I'm really excited to see what Trey Knox can do for this football team this year, listed as the number 1 tight end. Nathan Bax is actually behind him instead of Hudson Henry. I think that's another thing offensively. If you wanted to just point out something that's not, again, when I say surprise, it doesn't have to be a surprise of, oh, your daughter's pregnant. It can just be one of those things where, oh,
that would be a little more than a surprise.
We're having meatloaf tonight. That's more the surprise when I'm talking about like that sort of thing. If you want to look at kind of the different things, I think the offense is more. I felt like this for a while. The offense was more ironed out than defensive was. I think a lot more people, a lot more fans, you listening, our Morning Rush constituents were wondering more about what the defense was going to look like than the offense. That's just my understanding. I'm curious, Dominique Johnson, I don't think, and I said this a couple weeks ago, I didn't think he was going to play this Saturday. I was surprised and happy to hear him back in practice, but just based on the way that Sam Pittman's been very cautious, and maybe, again, that's a tactical use of what he's trying to do with Dominique Johnson, but I don't anticipate him playing this Saturday. I think they'll wait till at least the South Carolina game and maybe the Missouri State game, depending on his health and kind of his injury situation.
So does that give Rocket Sanders a chance at 100 yards? We don't see a lot of 100-yard games anymore because they do spread it out. Does that mean he'll have a chance to run for 100 on Saturday?
I hope so. I don't know what they're going to do with KJ this year because we saw him as the leading rusher last year. What do you have, over 600 yards? You have
it's 664 yards last year, so, on 163 or 4 attempts.
It is, in my opinion, it is not a good sign if he's the leading rusher this year. I don't think he's going to be. I think Rocket now as a sophomore, AJ as a sophomore, Dominique with some more yardage under him. I think you're going to see them get the ball and that have another year under Kendall Briles. I think that this offense is going to be much more running back focused. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think KJ's not just going to keep the ball in the read option situations, in the RPO situations. I'm just under the perception that this is going to be more directed towards the running backs this year. But to your question, can Rocket Sanders get 100 yards this Saturday? This is going to be a defensive line and a front that's still going to focus on the run. If I'm Luke Fickell, I'm still making these wide receivers prove that they can do something. I don't care what's happened in the fall. They have to do it against you as a defense. So if I'm Luke Fickell, I'm stacking the box, and I'm making these wide receivers beat them. We'll see if Rocket Sanders can get that surplus of 100 yards, Tommy.
But when Dominique's back, he'll be just as much a feature back as Rocket. And just like you, I'm with you. They want to get him healthy. They'll use him when he's 100% ready to go because he hadn't had much practice time. And when you can't practice, you really can't play. Hey, the last holiday weekend of the summer is coming up, and you may have big plans for Labor Day weekend, going to the game, final pool party, trip to the lake, whatever you've got going on Labor Day weekend. Plan it out and be safe. Sadly, this holiday has become one of the deadliest times, with drunk drivers endangering themselves and others on Arkansas roadways. If you do, the consequences are severe. You'll lose your license, you'll go to jail, probably lose your job, pay court costs, attorney's fees, fines, and more. Plus, you got to get an ignition interlock. Blowing in a tube just to start your car is not going to be a lot of fun. And you have to pay for all of that. Hey, have a plan. Drive sober or get pulled over this holiday weekend. It's brought to you by the Arkansas State Police.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the Morning Rush. Get by your local Toyota dealer for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV. Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while, or if you haven't had the best of experiences with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry. Give her a call at 494-7600. They'll take care of it all. Crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
Save big on fiberglass in-ground pools during Burton Pools and Spas Inventory Reduction Sale. Hi, Tommy Kraft here for my friends at Burton's. If you've always dreamed and always wanted an in-ground pool in your own backyard, fiberglass is a great way to go. So give your family that pool they've been begging for years and save up to $7,000 right now during the fiberglass in-ground pool sale during the Inventory Reduction Sale at Burton Pools and Spas. Plus, when you sign up right now with Burton's, get a free salt generator, easy maintenance, great way to take care of your pool, or choose 2 ledge loungers that you can enjoy and relax in for many, many years to come. There's 6 different models to choose from with the fiberglass in-ground pools, so hurry while supplies last at Burton Pools and Spas. It's the Inventory Reduction Sale going on right now at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith, and always online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas. They are your source for backyard fun.
Some of my fondest childhood memories are from volunteering with my grandmother. Helping others was her passion. She'd always say, "The sweetest fruits of life come from serving others." And she was right.
At Shelter Insurance, we strive to make a positive impact in the communities where we work and live.
Ask Shelter agents Randy Milam or Brad Howe about a free insurance review.
Metal Mart offers high-quality, prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shops, carports, and more. They strive to be the company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials you need to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. With locations in Fort Smith, Mayflower, Jonesboro, and Little Rock. Or catch them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
Fall is here, and Razorback football Saturdays are back. Tailgating, the Hog Walk in Hogtown, running through the A, and much more return to Razorback Stadium on September 3rd when the Hogs battle 2021 College Football Playoff finalist Cincinnati at 2:30 p.m.
Touchdown, Arkansas!
All the Hogs, and secure your seat to one of the biggest home openers in program history. Single game tickets are now available at ArkansasRazorbacks.com or call 1-800-982-HOGS.
It's time for Breen RV's Labor Day blowout sale from September 1st through the 10th. With nearly $4 million of inventory, we are sure to have the next travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome in stock and ready for adventure. That means now is the best time to get your first RV or upgrade your existing RV. Start 2022 with a Coachman Clipper for just $207 a month, or save $34,000 off MSRP on a 2022 Dutchman Astoria, both with maintenance for life. Don't miss your opportunity to save thousands at Breen RV in Van Buren, where adventures begin. See dealer for details.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Good morning to the Morning Rush, everybody.
Jefferson off play action, going to throw deep, right sideline. Burks open at midfield, he's got it. Burks is going to go. Traylon down the sideline. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Watch the Morning Rush on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Just search Hit That Line.
And the next pitch to Albert is hit high and deep to right field. Backing up to the track, looking up, and it's gone! Home run, Albert Pujols, number 694. And he took it the other way, and he's now had more home runs off of more different pitchers than anybody who's ever played this game. And the Cardinals add 2 more runs. Albert Pujols does it again.
13-4, the final yesterday. Albert getting a little bit closer to that 700 mark, Tom.
Yeah, A-Rod's next at 696. He can move past him. So you got Bonds at 1, you got Hank Aaron, and then you got Babe Ruth, and then you got A-Rod. And he can move into, I guess, 4th all-time with a couple of more. Question is, will he still get to 700? He's only hitting essentially as a pinch hitter against lefties in relief. And then Drew Smiley, I know he hit a home run off of a week ago or whatever against the Cubs. They're back on the schedule. And as the rotation looks forward to this weekend, Smiley should be a starter this weekend, which maybe will give him a few more bats. Maybe by next Monday, we're talking about 696 or 697. That's a jump, though. I mean, we're 694 now. That's 2 or 3. But we have seen him recently go on these streaks, these tears, where he'll get 2 in a game. He'll hit 3 in 2 days or 3 for a weekend series. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But I'd sure like to see him past A-Rod, in the next week or 10 days. That would make me feel better about the possibility of getting to 700 before the close of the regular season. And then maybe there's some postseason at-bats coming up. We just don't know. But sure is a fun time right now if you're a Cardinal fan. It's appointment TV. It's appointment tablet and phone viewing right now, depending on how you can get the Cardinal games to yourself. Brought to you by Baxter Regional Medical Center. They've been providing high-quality, compassionate care since 1963. They've been taking care of all of our friends and neighbors right here in north central Arkansas and southern Missouri, including neurosurgery, a comprehensive heart program, urology, women's health, orthopedic care, and pain management are a few of the specialty areas that are on the roster, if you will, for Baxter Regional Medical Center. With 250 providers, 1,800 employees, in over 40 locations from Harrison to Hardy, from West Plains to Mountain View, Baxter Regional is here for you wherever you are. For more information, log on at baxterregional.org.
So if you had an opportunity to achieve 700 home runs, this might be a very easy answer. Would you rather do it in Busch as a lifelong Cardinal, or would you rather do it in Wrigley or Cincy or Milwaukee, to do it in your rival's ballpark? You think it's easily
easy? That's
Busch?
easy. You want to do it in front of your home fans. It's just like winning a World Series. You'll clinch when you can clinch. I mean, you don't get that. You don't get that luxury always of choosing. But if you have your choice as you're presenting with the question, you always want to do it with as many friends and family and your kids there and family there and all the people. It's just easier to round all those folks up for a home game. So, yeah, absolutely at home.
Well, see, I've asked that question before when it comes to beating a very high-caliber football, basketball, baseball team. Hey, where would you rather do it, on the road or at home? And say what you want, but that victory over LSU in 2007 when they were the number 1 team in the country was special. You were unranked. You went to their house.
Yeah.
I know.
Two different things, though. Two totally different things.
But I think
you're talking about a career achievement versus an individual game victory. There's nothing sweeter than leaving the opponent's stadium and hushing 100,000 at Neyland or hushing 100,000 in Death Valley. I'm totally with you. That is a rewarding and satisfying feeling as a fan leaving the other opponent's ballpark. But we're talking about a career achievement.
See, it's different when it's individual rather than team.
I mean, this is an individual career achievement. That's historic. On top of that, it's historic as well because, I mean, you can count them on one hand, the people that have accomplished in regards to home runs what Albert Pujols has.
So the number, it's Hank, Babe, Barry.
Well, no.
Is that it?
No, it's Barry. Well,
not
which
order
are you going?
Not in that order.
Okay.
Hank, Babe, Barry. That's just the
A-Rod.
three.
So,
but A-Rod's, he's not at 700 plus.
No,
right?
no, yes, 700. Yes, I'm just talking about who's ahead of Albert at this point.
Okay, so Babe's at 714 or 713.
714.
Okay, Hank is at 750.
5, I believe it is.
Okay.
And then Bonds is. I had the list in here. Let me pull it up. I don't have that committed
We're not
memory.
baseball guys, but that's just that.
No, but we're close on this.
That's the top of my head. I just knew there was 3 in that 700 range, and so is Albert Is he likable outside of St. Louis?
Bonds is 762.
Okay. Is he likable outside of St. Louis? Do fans outside of the Cardinal fan base enjoy his? Because people hate A-Rod. They hate Yankee fans. Hate
I don't like Bonds either, but it's all about the cloud and the accusations. There's never been one hint of that with A-Rod.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking for, because from what I read, people really like Babe Ruth, and I know there was some racial stuff with Hank Aaron, but people really liked Hank Aaron. That's what I'm asking. Is there any ill will towards Albert as non-Cardinal fans? Has he done anything over the years that has ticked people off to the point that they don't want him to achieve this?
Yeah, my Cub buddies, my friends that are Cubs fans say, yes, they don't like him at all. But I think there's another reason behind that. I think Albert has been a good ambassador of the game. And at 41 or 42 years old to be doing what he is doing, you can see labors around the base paths at this point compared to the flat bellies that are around him. So I think he's been a good ambassador for the game. I wonder, we openly pondered on this a week or so ago. Where would he be if he had never left St. Louis? Would we be talking about a chase for 800 perhaps? This was a conversation that came up while you were gone. It's hard to tell. He had a huge dip. I heard Phil talking of this on halftime after one of his home runs last week. You look at the numbers, and they were clearly at one level while he was in St. Louis. They dipped while he was away with Anaheim and others. And then, there's not enough to really say they're back to whatever level, but you just wonder if there had not been the dip that he had after leaving St. Louis, what could we possibly be talking about here?
Because he went to the Angels. Didn't he go to the Dodgers too?
Yeah, he was with the Dodgers.
Where else did he go?
I believe those were the only two.
Just those two, just out in Los Angeles. And sometimes I think when you hit a certain level, you get a little fat and happy. And I don't know if that was what happened to him. I think that's applicable to not just baseball players, football, basketball. You've hit a certain career and you plateau a little bit when you get paid. And I do remember he got paid. And it wasn't, if I remember the contract situation in that kind of early 2010s era, it wasn't that much more money he was getting offered by Los Angeles, but evidently it was enough to pluck him away from St. Louis. And I know that's frustrating for the stint for Cardinals fans because, help me on this, they haven't won since they beat the Rangers in 11, right?
And went to the World Series last. Yeah, I think that's right. The last one they've been to was against the Sox in 13 or 14. But yeah, I think the last one they have won is over a decade now.
Okay, that's what I thought that was right.
They haven't even been in a while, I guess is my point. But Tony in Greenwood texts in, Albert's just different. He's a great person, so there's not really the widespread dislike you see for other players. Yes, there's some Cub fans that probably don't care for him, but generally he's very well liked. I think that's exactly the way to describe him. So I think Albert Pujols is one of those players that everybody wishes they'd had to kind of center their franchise around 15 years ago, the way the Cardinals is. Hey, it's Taco Tuesday at Joe's Grill and Cantina, so stop in today for dollar tacos for lunch and dinner all day long. They open at 10:45 this morning. Got great chips and salsa with those thin, crispy chips, their own house-made salsa that's great, and dollar tacos all day and all the other tacos, and they got burritos and other things on special. Now, that's number one. You need to remember that for Tuesdays. Number two, Saturday coming up, they bring dollar tacos back. Plus, during every Hog game, it's half price apps and taps. So every appetizer on the menu, every beer on tap is half price during the game. So go to Joe's, watch the game, 2:30 on Saturday, half price apps and taps, and that's good every game all season long. It's all at Joe's Grill and Cantina, South 74th Street, across from Harps in Fort Smith. More of the Morning Rush straight ahead.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the Morning Rush. Get by your local Toyota dealer for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, this is Sue from the paint store in Van Buren. We are set and ready for all your spring and summer projects. We keep real samples of your Richards paint on file so we can be sure it matches every time. No computer can do that. The paint store in Van Buren. Color expertise and 34 years of knowledge outweighs all the competition. No other paint seller can do that. The paint store in Van Buren, Fayetteville Road, 474.
The company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates is looking for quality people to join the Fenceman team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fenceman. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
A pre-owned vehicle that won't break the bank? Good luck in this market.
But wait! Joe knows good deals. That's right, Joe can get you in a pre-owned car as low as $269 a month, or a truck starting at only $299 a month. Joe knows how to give you more for your trade and save your hard-earned cash. Come see Joe at the Crane Used Car Supercenter, because Joe knows. U.S. Highway 71 in Fort Smith.
Sometimes wounds just don't heal, and when they don't, reach out to the Tulsa Wound Center. They provide chronic wound care using all the latest technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy, shockwave therapy, skin substitutes, and more. When it comes to life and limb, experience matters. Make sure you are being seen and treated by an experienced and certified wound physician. Founder and medical director Dr. Lam Lee has been a prominent wound care and hyperbaric physician for over 15 years. 10,000 patients can't be wrong. Online at TulsaWoundCenter.com or call 918-561-6661.
Searching for the best UTV on the market but can't find it with any of the big name brands? That's where the Intimidator comes in. An American brand using American-made steel and built in Arkansas. Intimidator UTVs offer premium components as standard, unlike those other companies. Items such as doors, skid plates, heavy-duty frames, and comfortable seating, all at one comparable price. See why Intimidator UTVs are the best choice by visiting your local dealer, Horns Outdoor in Hot Springs, or visit hornsoutdoor.net.
College football is almost here, and we're helping you get ready, as we do every season, with Arkansas Game Day, with a special one to start when Arkansas opens up against leading receiver on this team last year, and excited to catch up with them in just a bit, Tommy.
Be a lot of fun. Hey, save right now on fiberglass in-ground pools at Burton Pools and Spas. The inventory reduction sale is going on right now. Get the pool you've dreamed of. Get the pool your family has always wanted. Have it ready to go and no issues. All the construction done when next spring rolls around. And right now, save up to $7,000 off. So get a plan together with Burton Pools and Spas for that in-ground pool. And they'll go a step further. Maintenance and care and all of those things can be even easier with a saltwater generator. So you can have a saltwater pool. They'll give you a free upgrade or choose 2 ledge loungers. It's your choice right now. There's 6 different models to choose from with fiberglass in-ground pools. Again, savings up to $7,000. Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale, also in Fort Smith, and always online at burtonpools.com.
Tyson, thanks for waking up early with us this morning. I want to start with your former quarterback, KJ Jefferson. How did you see him getting better throughout last season?
Last season, it was a big season for KJ, honestly. He shocked not only me, but the entire world. So I just saw the hard work that he put in, through the dark days that we had in the summer and the fall and going through fall camp and spring ball. I just saw him put his head down and work hard, and he got the reward of success that he worked for. So I was happy to see that for him.
Tyson, this is the first time your former offensive coordinator, Kendall Briles, returns a starting quarterback. What kind of relationship did you see between those two develop, not just last year, but since KJ's been on campus with you?
Honestly, Coach Briles is a great coach. And, he's a great leader also. So I saw him believe in KJ even when we had Felipe. Of course, he always has his faith in the starting quarterback and makes that decision the right way. But I saw him stay on top of KJ about learning and as a young backup when even Felipe was there, I saw him building and putting everything he had into KJ to becoming that number 1 guy as he knew he would. So I always saw a lot of faith that he had in KJ.
Tyson, give us an idea of what the culture's like, what Sam Pittman's building. What are the expectations on each individual player within the program?
Coach Pittman, he's big on trust, so he treats every young adult player that he has like a true man. He believes that we're going to do what we are expected on and off the field, in and outside the building. So he has a great culture going on over there.
Yeah, and when you look at, loyalty's another big word he uses publicly. Was that how big of a pressing point was that? Team conversations, individual conversations, and what did that mean within those 4 walls of the program? What was the expectation when the word loyalty was thrown around?
Loyalty, it goes back on that trust. So he always expected us to handle our situations like men when we're out about in the city, the town of Fayetteville, or on campus and in class, or like I said, in the building. So he stood on his word, and not too many times did he go back on that. So you always knew he would be the same person every day, and he had your back every day because that's how he went about his business every day. So it was kind of like you felt that energy given back from him.
Gotcha. Last year, Traylon Burks was clearly cast the long shadow with the wide receivers. This year, it's a little more wide open. How do you you played within that with Traylon Burks? What kind of adjustment was that for you as a player, and kind of how was that set up internally when you had a player that was clearly the number 1 target?
I mean, everybody, you see the talent that Traylon has, and the things that he done in Arkansas, that they were remarkable. So, when you see such a talent and a highly praised guy coming through like that, this cat needs the ball. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So it's nothing to, hold your tongue back or be against, because the proof is in the pudding, man. The man needs the ball, and I enjoy watching every second of Burks play. So.
We're talking with Tyson Morris, former Arkansas wide receiver, was 2nd on the team in receiving yards and catches last year. Tyson, I've got a sense that this wide receiver room feels a little disrespected. And you just gave some great accomplishments about Traylon Burks and your former teammate, but I think they're tired of talking about him. Do you get a sense that they feel like they have something to prove this season with the former first-round draft pick no longer with the team?
I mean, honestly, it's hard to say. I know those guys are working hard. I know that they have the faith in themselves and the faith from their teammates that they're going to go out and be good ball players. But it's hard to, it's not hard to, but you have to let the outsiders talk and believe what they believe and just believe that yourself in a group that you're going to come out and be successful on the field. So I believe those guys have it. They're boxing out the outsiders, and they're ready to ball. So.
Tyson, give me some insight on Kenny Guyton. He seems as a really funny guy. He's got some goofy recruiting videos, and he's killed it in recruiting as of late. Well, what can you tell us about the wide receivers coach at Arkansas?
I feel like Coach Guyton's a great fit for Arkansas and what Coach Sam Pittman has going on, because he's able to work within the system and also be himself in the system. So he does everything right. He does everything Coach Pittman wants, but he's also good at being himself and staying true to his character in the wide receiver room. So he's a great fit for Arkansas, honestly.
Tyson, you kind of had an unorthodox way making it to Fayetteville. Started at Central Oklahoma after Fayetteville High School. Your dad didn't play football, played basketball at the U of A. How important was it for you to end up an Arkansas Razorback?
Just coming up to Fayetteville in high school, it's all about the Razorbacks, and even in the state of Arkansas, it's all about the Hogs. So I've always seen, how big of a stage that those players have played on and how much they mean to the state. And also my mom and my dad graduated from Arkansas, so it was always a dream for me to play on that field, man. So I kind of had my mind made up early.
Yeah. Tyson, what's going on with you now? Give us an update, kind of where you're at and what what the future is right now for you.
So I recently was with Indianapolis doing minicamp OTAs and camping, all that stuff. I was released once, brought back in, released again, and it's just part of the business, man. And right now I feel like I've done enough to firmly say my football career won't be over. So I feel like there's another opportunity after me. I'll be receiving another call or just giving another tryout or whatever is next for me. I just know football isn't over for me because I've put in the work. I've opened some eyes in the NFL. So I feel like, I'll have another shot here soon.
That's great. Hey, when we're thinking about Cincinnati as the first week opponent versus what has been a traditional, unranked, directional type school, non-Power 5 school on Arkansas' schedule. How do you think that's changed? I know you're not there this year, but how do you think that's changed the summer, the preparation, and maybe the mindset going into this first game for some of your former teammates in this current roster?
I was out there in Indianapolis, out there with Alec Pierce. He's a Cincinnati guy, so we've had a couple conversations about this upcoming week. And I just know that Cincinnati is a good football program. They were outstanding last year, and I just feel like we got to welcome to the SEC. We got to show them what the SEC is about. Come out, play physical, fast, and fearless, and we'll be victorious. So,
Tyson, I want to ask you about high school. You referenced your Fayetteville Bulldogs. I don't know if you've kept up with, and I know there's not really any of your former teammates, but are you going to be able to make it back to a game at FHS at Harmon Field at any point this year?
I have that. I want to make it back to a Fayetteville High game, man. It's been too long, I want to go see what the Bulldogs are up to. But I've had a few conversations with Coach Casey Dick, and I'm sure I'm going to make that happen this season. So,
Tyson, you made it to a state championship your senior, as did Isaiah Satania, who comes in as a true freshman. There might have been 1 year of overlap between you two. There might not have been. He might have still been in junior high, but you probably heard about him or watched him or seen him at some point. What are your thoughts on the dynamic Fayetteville freshman that is on campus and hopes to play an impact as a true freshman this year?
Oh, yeah, man. I've heard a lot about him. I've seen him play a couple games with me talking to Coach Guyton and him recruiting him. So I've seen speed. He has great hand-eye coordination, good hands, good at tracking the ball. So I see a future star, honestly. I see that kid. He works hard. He's smart. Good kid in and out of the building. So I see a bright future for Isaiah.
Tyson, we'll leave it there this morning. We appreciate you coming on early with us, giving us some thoughts on this football team this year, kind of where you are in life, and hope we get a chance to catch up with you. And best of luck with whether it's Indy or whatever NFL team you continue to progress with moving forward.
I appreciate you guys, and have a great morning. Go Hogs, baby.
All right, good to hear from Tyson Morris this morning. Remember his dad? It might be a little bit before your time. Isaiah Butch Morris, one of the names that from some of Nolan's heydays. So fun to catch up with Tyson. I'm like you. I hope hopefully he catch on, get on a practice squad, hang around, and make a roster spot someday there and fulfill his dream. Hey, we're brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Partners. Whether you're building a home, remodeling a home, going through some kind of contract issue, whether you're the homeowner or you're the contractor, we know that things can get sideways. be at odds, maybe end up in a courtroom. If you need a good lawyer to represent you from your corner, that's Kevin Hickey and Brad Hull. They have the experience you need. They understand breach of contract. They understand negligence. They understand non-payment and other issues. So if you need an experienced attorney to take care of a breach of contract or a non-payment situation, whether it's remodeling a home or another business matter, give Brad or Kevin a call today. 479-434-2414 in the River Valley, 802-6560. Is the number in Northwest Arkansas. You're probably driving, couldn't write those down, so just remember KevinHickeyLaw.com. That's KevinHickeyLaw.com.
Back to the phone lines. We were having a conversation about Albert Pujols last segment, and Danny in Russellville wants to get his 2 cents on it. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, guys. Last night, Albert started at first base against a right-hander. Normally, they're not playing him against right-handers, but I think Ollie's trying to get him a few more at-bats. And I believe that home run was off a right-hander. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're trusting him more. And really, since the All-Star break, he's hitting probably as good as anybody in the league. So I look for him to get some more at-bats. As far as him coming back to his first love, St. Louis, there was no need for him to ever leave. St. Louis offered him, I believe, 7 years, a pretty astronomical amount, but him and his agent decided they wanted 10 years. Now, if Albert had to do over again, I'm sure he would have took the 7 years, and then you take it year by year like Adam Wainwright. He's 1 year contract, one after another. And I feel like if he plays enough, he can get to 700. I certainly hope he does. But, you know, Freddie Freeman, his agent, he fired him because he did not tell him the offer that the Braves had made. And he found out about it a few months ago, and he fired him. Freddie Freeman didn't want to leave the Braves. But these agents get involved, and they see dollar signs. And I just think if Albert would have been thinking it through, he would have retired a Cardinal. But that's water under the bridge, and I sure hope he gets 700. Go Cardinals, go Hogs.
Thanks, Dan. It was off a lefty last night, but so his 694th. But hey, horse racing, stock market, and probably baseball. Hindsight's 20/20 and more clear than in those sports than any other sport. But you know, there's no mulligans in baseball.
Here's the deal: if I'm an agent, and it's more the big dogs, right? It's the Jimmy Sextons and all his entourage and the people that he runs in coots with. They see not only the bigger salary that you can get in Los Angeles, New York, now Dallas. Dallas is now a top 5 giant city in the United States. They see the marketability and the endorsements. And while Atlanta is still a major hub, it's not Los Angeles. And I don't know, because I know that because there were some comments. I think Doug Gottlieb is the one that made the comments that now Freddie Freeman's agent is suing Doug Gottlieb for making the comments that he said. I don't know 100% what happened on that. It just sounds like that, as you just said, Danny, Freddie Freeman was not told about the Atlanta offer, and it sounded like that he wanted to stay more. These agents, though, as you just said, they want to put their clients in not only situations where they can make more money on the contract, but also endorsements, bigger cities, more marketability, and all that. Some guys just don't like that, though. Mike Trout, for example, lives in Los Angeles, plays for the Angels. He's one of the best players, if not the best player in baseball. And he's not like a huge nightlife guy. That's just not his thing. Some guys are just not built like that. Some are Shaquille O'Neal, and they're the life of the party, which is great. But some guys, even in bigger markets, they're not necessarily like, quote unquote, thriving in the non-football, basketball, baseball activities.
But for Albert, that's not what this season's about. He's playing for like, what, $2.5 million. He came back home for this. This is about a good feeling. And when, basically every home game in St. Louis, as far as percentage of sold tickets, is one of the tops in baseball every year. I mean, it's a destination across the Midwest for people to take church groups and work groups and family vacations, and go on and on. Anytime you go to a ball game there, and it's somewhat the same, but it seems like even more so at St. Louis, where they're welcoming this church group and this school there, and people make a point to go to St. Louis. what is it? It's not point of focus in the way I want to. It's kind of like a center of gravity, if you will, for people to spend weekends and trips. So, Albert Pujols is a huge draw, and I can just tell you early on when you knew he had signed and you knew he was going to play, we looked for some tickets in late September to maybe time it out to see his last game, and they were outrageously expensive. And there's a ton of fan interest for this. And I think it's only going to get ramped up even more as he chases this historic number. But I understand the agent angle and all of that, trying to get more money, bigger markets for money outside of baseball. But none of that has anything to do with Albert this year. It's all about planting his legacy and history with 700 home runs.
Well, a guy that wants to plant his legacy in the state of Arkansas is Sam Pittman. He has been very vocal. He has been out there saying, this is where I want to retire. This is where I want to spend the duration and the rest of my career as a head football coach. He was with the media yesterday talking about this Cincinnati game this week, and we referred to the depth chart earlier. Here's what he had to say about the cornerbacks and where it is right now.
Overall, Clark, we feel like he's played the most consistent of that group, and then I think we're trying to find out exactly what we're going to do, whether it be Day or whether it be McLaughlin or whether it be Chavis. To be perfectly honest with you, we're still trying to figure that out. We obviously know they're all going to play and things of that nature, but we're still trying to figure out who's going to run out there with the ones.
How many people printed out depth charts yesterday and have them in cubicles or looked at them, glanced at them? Is that? Because I had a bunch of, that was all our group messages were discussing yesterday is the Razorback football depth chart. That's
I didn't think people your age had a printer anymore, unless it worked.
That's all it was. It was the group text.
Everybody's printing it out.
The screenshot and all that. I have, and there's certain factions of the people that I run with that have some old school traits to them when it comes to rosters and stuff like that, because a lot of them still work in cubicles. And so they will do stuff like this that's been going on for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. But that was something that was a big talking point amongst my friend group yesterday.
It's the water cooler conversation. And, again, if you've watched and paid attention, and I know we watch a little closer than most, but not a lot of surprises on the offense, a few questions answered on the defense, and, pretty much you knew exactly what was going to happen. Some of this is about health and who's ready to go. Some of this is about a job like at corner that he just talked about a minute ago, and what Coach was saying that's, a job still up for grabs. But what would you say? 19 or 20 of the 22 starting spots on both sides of the ball, we could have penciled those in probably a week ago. It was, other than an injury, other than something that was physically going to keep someone off the field, there wasn't a ton of intrigue and surprise in what was released yesterday.
Offensively, yes, I was a little more curious on defense. The only thing that stood out to me on offense is Landers is over Keytron Jackson. I thought Keytron might have had that position, but that's the only one on offense, and maybe Jaden Wilson as the second guy behind Warren Thompson. That's the guy that Sam Pittman was in a press conference earlier this year and was like, no one knows who you are, dude. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll step up, and he's as a second guy on the depth chart right now. He seems to be doing what he's doing as a freshman. So that's the only, and maybe Nathan Bax over Hudson Henry. Offensively, defensively, though, it was a little more murky, I'd say. Is that a fair assessment on my part?
The defensive line, you're trying to figure out who's healthy and who's ready to go. That second corner that's been up for grabs, who was going to edge out that spot? It was Ladarius Bishop who gets that spot. You felt really good that Hudson Clark, just based on everything that we were learning and hearing last week, was going to be the corner on the other side. Inside, you felt really good about it. Terry Hampton was a question mark because of health and whether or not he would be one of those inside techniques. Isaiah Nichols was probably the one you were most confident about along that defensive front as far as the inside guys. So, and then linebackers were set. You knew at safety you were set with Catalan. You knew you were set with Blair. And the nickel was Miles Slusher. Some of those that, probably from the early days of camp. In some of those spots, you knew Bumper Poole and Drew Sanders were going to be your linebackers. You knew Jalen Catalan, and most likely Blair was going to be your safety. He'd talked a lot about Miles Slusher and what he's brought to the table. So, I'd say 2 or 3 spots at most, there was maybe some intrigue in what comes out yesterday. Now, this is depth chart number 1. Let's see what happens in a game. All they've had to evaluate is practice, hitting each other, all the old cliches. let's look up and compare next week, or maybe compare by the A&M game. Hang on to this one, tape it up in the cubicle, and let's see what differences we may see by the time you go to Arlington. Because I'm, just not only from an injury standpoint, but I think just someone winning the job, putting something else on tape, I think you may see a few changes. I think when you look at it, the other interesting thing to me is you can clearly see, we were talking yesterday about the gap in the experience of the offensive line. You can see the next line coming just based on who the number twos are. But, you got a lot of – they're all juniors and seniors starting. And you don't have a lot past Tykees Crawford. You got Jalen St. John as a sophomore. And then you got a lot of young freshmen. So the next wave of your offensive line hopefully will get some run this year because I think when you look at the depth and you look at in those number two spots how many freshmen there are there, it kind of tells you where you're at from an experience standpoint. You need some of these young guys that are going to be the next wave on your offensive line, like Chamblee, guys like that, to get some experience. Harris, those young guys.
So Alabama,
Kutas, the other one.
If I remember correctly, Alabama returns 18 or 19 starters this past. It's insane.
It was a rebuilding year for them last year.
It's not good. It's not good at all. But where do you think Arkansas is compared to other SEC West schools that they'll have to play every single one of them? You think there's more question marks on Arkansas? You think there's about the same, less? When each coach, when Jimbo, when Lane, when Brian, when all these dudes are looking at their roster and they're looking up and down and say, I got questions here, I got questions there. I'm pretty rock solid with this group or this group. Where do you think Sam is relative to the other guys? And looking at his roster right now, heading into game one, which in most cases is a more difficult game than every single other SEC West opponent, where do you think that is setup-wise for this football team relative to others?
Well, I don't know that you're going to get a public answer filled with honesty on that. He's not going to tell you, boy, see this guy I'm starting over here at this spot? I'm really nervous about that. I don't think he's going to tell you that you'll know that when there's a change at that spot after a game or two. But I think we're so hyper-focused. There's probably not a lot of tons of questions here compared to everywhere else because we're not as hyper-focused on Ole Miss or LSU or some of these other spots. So, but as far as a coach telling you, hey, we got a lot of work to do here, the only thing he's really been open about here lately is specialist, and he's got a lot of oars there, and still not sure on punter, who's going to be the long-term punter. Few oars in those categories, and then that second corner spot are the areas where I don't know that he's not framed it in a way that, hey, I'm worried we don't have anyone that can play the position. It's, we got to see who's going to win the job ultimately.
Well, I would point to, if I had to compare this, Lane Kiffin is of the four quarterback battles we saw in the West. Finley's getting the go at Auburn. Haynes Keene is getting the go at Texas A&M. We don't know between Altmaier and, I almost said Corral. We don't know between Altmaier and Dart at Ole Miss. So that's kind of, and who's the other one that I'm missing? LSU is not named Jaden Daniels, even though it looks like Jaden Daniels is going to be that starter. So I would think, even if there are more questions for a certain school, the fact that they don't know who the quarterback's going to be as of yesterday, speaking of Ole Miss, that's still a bigger and more influential question mark than even anything else maybe Arkansas could have to offer.
You really think they don't know? I mean, they know who they're going to trot out there, right? But I guess what you're saying is they don't know who their long-term quarterback is. And they have the luxury of playing Troy and Central Arkansas and Georgia Tech their first 3 weeks. So, I mean, they can approach it, and then Tulsa. I mean, we've talked about Ole Miss's schedule and how you could look up and they could have a pretty decent record after a month and it could be a little inflated. So that's the thing with Ole Miss right now. They have the luxury of a schedule that gives them the chance to relax a little bit more than Arkansas can.
I'm really curious. Haynes Keene did not look great for A&M last year before he got injured. I want to see what he does early on before they play Arkansas. Hour 2 coming up. More of what Sam Pittman had to say yesterday.
Save big on fiberglass in-ground pools at the Burton Pools & Spa's Inventory Reduction Sale. Get the pool your family has been begging for and save up to $7,000. Plus, get a free salt generator or 2 ledge loungers. 6 models to choose from while supplies last. At Burton Pools & Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Call, come by, or visit burtonpools.com. Burton Pools & Spas, where you can get your feet wet without getting in over your head.
How much life can you fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4?
Hun, can you grab me a swan float? They're in the RAV4.
The pink one or the yellow one?
How about 69.8 cubic feet for inflatable fun?
Want me to put the address in the RAV4's GPS?
No. I know exactly where yeah.
Thought so.
Up to 40 miles of uncharted terrain per gallon.
Get in the RAV4. Get in the RAV4. I did not expect mountain lions out here.
That's a cat.
But it's big though, right?
Yeah, big kitty.
That's 37.7 inches of headroom for tall tales.
Hey, pull into that taco stand here. I'm starving. I'm grabbing 2 number 4s.
And grab 2 for me.
And 2 to 4 number 4s for the largest appetites. The numbers add up. It's amazing how much life you can fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4. Visit your local dealer or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability. EPA estimated 41 city, 38 highway, 40 combined MPG for 2022 RAV4 XSE hybrid.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
This is Northside head football coach, Coach Felix Curry. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940. This is Northside head basketball coach, Eric Burnett. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
Football and fall, what a great time of the year. It's also a great time to take advantage of York Factory rebates on high-efficiency HVAC products. Give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Do you remember the joy you felt as a kid about pizza night? Remember how good it smelled? You could taste it even before you opened the box. And then that first bite. It was so good. Be the supper time savior. Order Jim's Razorback Pizza now. 434-3456. The best pizza in Fort Smith, or it's free.
Jim's Razorback Pizza. Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until you get something done. Yeah, I know the game is on, but the faucet is still dripping, the toilet keeps running, and the drains won't drain, and on and on. You need to call West Ark Plumbing and let them do the dirty work while you enjoy the game. Call them at 646-5151 and watch the ball game without the West Ark Plumbing, 646-5151.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment, not having enough home time, feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, some sunshine, a chance of seeing showers and storms, especially across the south today. Our high this afternoon, upper 80s to low 90s. We will clear out and cool down tonight. Overnight low near 60 north, 70 south. Sunny skies mid to upper 80s on Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by W&W Automotive Complete Automotive Service and Repair, 242-1600.
You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Bud Light, brewed with the best barley, rice, water, and hops to be America's favorite light beer. Bud Light, please drink responsibly.
This game will be the first for Arkansas since 1980 where you're ranked and the opponent is ranked for a season opener. Do you kind of feel like there could be a little more national attention?
We're on ESPN. You want that for the program, publicity for the program, and now the expectations are certainly high, and they're high in our building as well. I think opening up against a top 25 program, which I think Cincinnati's higher than that even, I think they would do well in the SEC. I know that.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir. All right, hour number 2 of a Toyota Tuesday edition of the Morning Rush. We got our depth chart yesterday. We got Coach Pittman in his first press conference of game week. Now we just need a game 4 days out from Cincinnati. Here's a question to start out hour number 2 that you can chew on a little bit. Of the depth chart that you've seen, who is most likely to jump from the 2 slot to the 1 slot where they are now? 877-377-6963. Offense, defense, special teams, I don't care. Just tell me in the next hour who is going to jump from the 2 slot to the 1 slot as we get going here.
Hey, we're brought to you by World of Wireless this morning. You need to get ready for the tailgating this weekend, not just the food and making sure you have that new smoked cheese dip recipe down and all of those things, but are you ready to watch the games? Not just the one you're going to in Fayetteville, but all of the other games around the country. You need the Playmaker system from World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH is the number to call Ben and his crew and get the easy-to-use, easy-to-set-up 8-pound portable Playmaker system. You hook it directly into your satellite receiver from Dish. You hook that directly into your TV, and bam, you've got all the games, all your favorite channels, and you're at the tailgate, and you're the man. You've even got Playmaker systems that can support 2 TVs at once. You can ask about those when you call WOW now. 877-305-DISH. Ask about the easy-to-use, no tripod required, no dish and LMB required Playmaker system from World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH for WOW, World of Wireless.
If you want to listen to Sam Pittman's press conference yesterday, you're more than welcome to do that on hitthatline.com, our YouTube channel as well, because he also has some questions about his team like this.
Overall team, I want to see what we have out at wideout. I want to see how much we miss Dominique Johnson. I want to see how good Drew Sanders is. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that is our D-line better than it was a year ago with losing Ridgeway and Trey Williams. And, can we be better than we were?
Can they be better than they are or they were? That, I don't know if it means in wins and losses, overall game. How does a coach calculate that when your schedule could arguably be tougher than it was last year, the competition?
You got to watch the tape. we don't see it the same way. As much as we think we know football, we don't know anything. I mean, these guys know, they're looking for little bitty nuances with hands and feet and leverage and all of these things that, while we're watching the ball and the quarterback, they're watching something that might be the key to the play, and that's the way the left or right guard maybe pulled and blocked and kicked a guy out. All of those things and how they carry out the assignments. We don't know the plays and the assignments. They do. They know exactly, did someone do exactly what they're supposed to do, how many times out of 100? Or on offense, maybe you get 70 plays. Did they get it right 68 times or 46 times? I mean, those are the things that we just don't have, all the knowledge and information, but they're just watching it in such a different light. So I think there could be changes, and we may say, well, yeah, but that guy, still had 2 tackles and 1 sack, but they're replacing him with someone that didn't have – well, there might be a reason why. And it's just things that we're not going to understand from that standpoint.
The nuances within each game that I have a much better understanding of basketball than I do football on each and every play and how even the slightest twitch can affect an entire play. Text in from Jared to the question I pose. He thinks that either Dwight McLaughlin or Kari Johnson's going to overtake Hudson Clark. Seems like Hudson's had a pretty good fall camp by the highlight videos and what Sam Pittman and Barry Odom and others have said about him. That's someone that you're going to want to keep an eye on this season. We know 2 years ago he had the game of his life against Ole Miss and Matt Corral with the 3 interceptions. There's a couple times last year he got picked on, but he's a guy in the system now in year 3 that's earned a scholarship that you hope will take another big step forward. I want to see what that secondary is like. Can they afford to blitz? Can they afford? Because Monteric Brown, the Ashdown native last year, was just an absolute stud on an island. Is Ladarius Bishop good enough to leave on the best wide receiver? Is Hudson good enough to leave on the best wide receiver? Monteric was. There's a reason. He's a Jacksonville Jaguar. I think he's still on the team. I don't know if he got released or not. There is something to be said about having a lockdown corner. Monteric was tied in the SEC with interceptions last year. Do you have that on this roster where you can send Bumper Pool, where you can send a safety, where you can send Jalen, where you can send Miles, when you can send some other guys? It's a question that needs to be answered in the coming weeks.
Yeah. I think if you had to pick a place, there might be some changes or some adjustments. It would probably be in that secondary. Could Malik Chavis overtake Ladarius Bishop? That's been a very tight race to see who starts. I think you'll see all 3 of those guys play there. Do we get too caught up in the first names on this list and not necessarily who's out there in the 3rd and 4th quarter sometimes? And it usually is the same, but sometimes we pay attention too much to starts and not enough to finishes.
I mean, it's basketball. It's a little easier to tell.
Yeah.
And some guys come off the bench and then, as you say, finish a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the time, the starters in football stay out there the duration of the game, right?
You're right.
That's rare that you see that in football, unless there's an injury.
I think there's some places on this team we need to pay attention to that. I think the secondary for Arkansas is one place. That defensive line might be another. I think the offensive line, they'd love for those 5 guys to play the vast majority of the snaps. I think you'll see, Tykees Crawford and maybe Jalen St. John. And I'm interested to see how much these young guys that are the number 2s on this depth chart, a Patrick Kutas at center. You look and you see Andrew Chamblee is the number 2 at left tackle. You see a Marion Harris as the backup at right guard behind Bo Limmer, who we know has had some issues, and Latham, who's overcoming some health concerns, and they moved some practices around for these guys. And Ricky Stromberg with a hyperextended elbow last week. I don't think any of these guys are going to miss starts, but I'm interested to see how much these guys play. I don't think that's an area, though, on this team where, hey, if it's tight game, 6 minutes to go, the backups aren't playing. They're going to lean on the guys with the experience. I'm interested to see who they gain confidence in coming out of this first game.
You've been a little apprehensive about the backup lineman depth. You see who's backup at linebacker right now?
Mm-hmm.
You got a redshirt freshman and a freshman, Crook and Paul.
Well, Pooh-Paul's at least been in the system. Like I said, it's a red shirt, but yeah.
But that's young. And I know they've been high on Crook, and I know that Christopher Pooh-Paul, they're really high on him as well. But that's 2 linebackers, and you go you go, I would think, way back from where you are now to where you could be.
Last year with Grant Morgan there, you had in Henry, you had three starters for two. You had three starters for two spots. That was linebacker depth we've never been used to at Arkansas. We got spoiled. I've been raised on that thinking of that philosophy. There's never linebacker depth. I mean, we talk about that every year. Well, there's no depth at linebacker. It was a recurring, perennial conversation. So I guess I'm just kind of used to that because that's what we've always done. Hey, we got a fun week coming up as we get ready for the game Friday. We're going to be at the Stadium Shop, be there all morning long. Chuck's going to be there with us on location in Fayetteville. So if you're making your way up for the game, stop in on Friday morning at the Stadium Shop on Razorback next to Baum Walker Stadium. Going to have some great deals on Tommy Bahama, Razorback apparel, plus get a free Beat Cincinnati button. And come and join us for the Morning Rush this Friday at the Stadium Shop on Razorback next to Baum Walker.
When we come back, we'll get into our Morning Rush daily question, plus Bruce Stanton and Pratco Fishing will join us, get some college football questions we're wondering this fall.
This is the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates is looking for quality people to join the Fenceman team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fenceman. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacale, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
A pre-owned vehicle that won't break the bank? Good luck in this market.
But wait! Joe knows good deals. That's right, Joe can get you in a pre-owned car as low as $269 a month, or a truck starting at only $299 a month. Joe knows how to give you more for your trade and save your hard-earned cash. Come see Joe at the Crane Used Car Supercenter, because Joe knows. U.S. Highway 71 in Fort Smith.
Sometimes wounds just don't heal, and when they don't, reach out to the Tulsa Wound Center. They provide chronic wound care using all the latest technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy, shockwave therapy, skin substitutes, and more. When it comes to life and limb, experience matters. Make sure you are being seen and treated by an experienced and certified wound physician. Founder and medical director Dr. Lam Lee has been a prominent wound care and hyperbaric physician for over 15 years. 10,000 patients can't be wrong. Online at TulsaWoundCenter.com or call 918-561-6661.
Searching for the best UTV on the market but can't find it with any of the big name brands? That's where the Intimidator comes in. An American brand using American-made steel and built in Arkansas. Intimidator UTVs offer premium components as standard, unlike those other companies. Items such as doors, skid plates, heavy-duty frames, and comfortable seating, all at one comparable price. See why Intimidator UTVs are the best choice by visiting your local dealer, Horns Outdoor in Hot Springs, or visit hornsoutdoor.net.
College football is almost here, and we're helping you get ready, as we do every season, with Arkansas Game Day, with a special one to start when Arkansas opens up against Cincinnati Saturday, September the 3rd. Now, we'll get things going at 9:30 a.m. Here's the deal. Tommy's going to be back in studio, Drew Barrett's going to be at Randall Ford, and I'm going to be at Sassy's Red House on College. Arkansas Game Day is always presented by Bud Light, and Curveball Whiskey is going to be at Sassy's Red House on College. Get ready for the opening game between Arkansas and Cincinnati with Arkansas Game Day. Heard live on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Just do the right thing. That's it. The rest takes care of itself.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe in doing the right thing for our customers and our communities.
Ask Shelter agents Ted McAvoy or Jeff Clark about a free insurance review.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Good morning to the Morning Rush, everybody.
Here come the students. Oh, here come the students. They're coming from the south end, and they're not going to keep them off the field. Here they come. This one has been a long time brewing. Arkansas has manhandled Texas tonight.
Did you miss a segment or interview during the show? Find it in the Bud Light Next Morning Rush podcast. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
Talked about this a little in hour number one as we dive into our Morning Rush daily question presented by Red River Dodge. In Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com. The biggest surprise on the depth chart to me was the 3 defensive transfers, Landon Jackson, Latavius Brinney, and Dwight McLaughlin not being listed, any of those 3 as a starter. Sanders, the only one listed as a starter from the guys that came over defensively, if I remember that correctly. Might be one more that I'm missing, but that's what stood out to me. What stood out to you?
Not a lot of surprises on this depth chart. Maybe you could pick apart some of the number 2s. I mean, for the last week or 2 weeks, coach has been given quite a few clues as to, particularly in the offensive side. I think we knew who it was going to be. I don't think it's a surprise, but Ladarius Bishop gets the nod over Chavis as the one at the other corner spot. Hudson Clark going to start at the other. That could be an area where we could see some change over the next few games.
JP texted and he says he could see Dwight, and he goes by Nudie McLaughlin working his way into a starting spot. So it seems like some people are not believing in Hud Island, Tommy.
Well,
has Hud Island been
he's
a
gotten
destination?
picked on. I mean, I think he's made he's lived a long time on those 3 interceptions against Ole Miss a few years ago. He had none last year. So, I mean, if he gets beat and they do pick on him, there's going to be a change made there.
I liked what I saw from him from fall camp and what people were saying about him in fall camp. You got to remember, here's a kid that came to Arkansas as a walk-on. Both his parents went to the U of A. And Highland Park, one of the best schools in all of not just Dallas, but the Texas area. He played like 4- and 5-star receiver each and every week. And if you go watch and listen and look at the stats, he was holding these guys to their season and career lows in high school. It was insane. And you hope that he'll continue to progress as a cornerback and in that defensive backfield for Arkansas this year. Because, again, it's what I said last segment. You don't have a Monteric Brown on this team that we know. You had a luxury if you're Barry Odom last year where you could put him on the best wide receiver of the opposing team outside of Jamison Williams and John Mechie, who torched Arkansas all day long. And you were probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
He had 5 interceptions last year. You don't have that on this roster that we know about right now.
All right, so that's our Morning Rush Daily Question brought to you by Red River Dodge in Heber Springs as we welcome Bruce Stanton into the conversation from Pradco Fishing. That's the thing about, a guy like Hudson Clark, the way Barry Odom likes to play, which is keep everything in front of you, not a lot of press and man-to-man stuff. A guy like Hudson Clark who plays, by all accounts, pretty good technique and can go step for step on speed with some guys and match up as well, but does a lot of the things right, can fit into a defense like Barry Odom's trying to put on the field.
Well, I think Arkansas has had a history of guys that might not line up step for step. There's a lot of guys that have played linebacker like that, but the heart, the being in the right place, the desire, we've seen it the last several years. I think there's a lot more than a stopwatch and can you run a 4.3? Can you be in the right place at the right time? And do you have the heart to get in there? And Arkansas has developed a tradition of developing players like that. I guess for me, when I look at the team, and I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool hog fan, but I'm interested to see, Hornsby, I've heard you talk about where he's going to end up at quarterback depth, Tommy. He's second on the depth chart at quarterback, but where are they going to use him? How are they going to get his talent, his speed on the field, game-breaking speed, special player, but how are they going to use him? I guess that's what I'm interested to see. Will that come out against Cincinnati, or are they going to save that for an SEC game?
Yeah, and I don't say I'm confused there, but Cade Fortin was such he came ahead in the conversation when they were talking about quarterbacks and depth compared to Malik Hornsby. So I just wonder, hey, if something unfortunate happened to KJ, or if they needed a longer-term quarterback, would it truly be Hornsby or would it be Cade Fortin? Who do they trust to run the system? And I'm not saying there's not packages and things you put Hornsby in for, but if someone had to take the team for a half, who gets that nod? I don't think that's as easy a call that Hornsby gets it, but I'm just basing that solely and completely on press conferences and things that we've seen the last couple of weeks come out of the coaches' mouths.
I would guess if KJ catches a cramp and somebody's got to go in and take a couple snaps, there's got to be some trust with Hornsby.
Sure.
That he can take a snap and at least run a single wing or hand the ball off. And, but yeah, if you have to have a whole half and you have to be able to execute, a 3rd and 10, maybe Thornton is the guy.
Yeah. What was the deal? The completion percentage, KJ was at 1, Cade was at 2, and then Malik was at 3, if I remember that right. So that's the percentage. Is that not just a motivation factor that these coaches are using, Tom, with Cade Fortin? Because I think if it rolls out, there's no Malik. Let's go.
If for some reason KJ can't start and couldn't play against, let's just say Missouri State, let's make it a little more plausible. Something happens in week 3, he's not going to be able to make the start for some reason against Missouri State. Is it Hornsby or is it Fortin that starts with a week's preparation leading up to it?
So you think there's actually a debate? Because I don't even think there's a debate. I think it's just Pittman.
I may be wrong. I'm just going on what coaches were saying 10 days ago.
Sam Pittman said at SEC Media Days that there was still and I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to misquote him, but he said something to an extent that there was still a competition between Malik and KJ.
And we all rolled our eyes at that. So I do believe there is a competition for the number 2 spot.
How much of it, though? What advantage does Malik
we've been
have
given very limited access to practices. We've seen none of the scrimmages. But maybe I'm reading way too much into what a coach is saying. And there was a shift from a lot more conversation, Bruce, about young players early in the camp and mentioning some of the freshmen. But man, they were highlighting and talking about Fortin more frequently at times. I'm just interested to see what is real in that. And honestly, I hope we never find out. I hope KJ takes every snap.
This is personnel management, guys. You've got to keep everybody happy. And, you're incumbent. You've got to keep him happy and thinking he's a part of it. It doesn't matter how well the guy under him is playing. Malik could have transferred, obviously. Probably could have gone somewhere, possibly got more playing time as a quarterback or as an all-purpose athlete. So, Sam Pittman, one of his biggest jobs is keeping the whole locker room happy. That's a hard job, especially when you're talking about it. Tommy, you talk about it a lot on the radio, but you don't talk about the inner workings of your radio station. You don't talk about who's the best salesperson or who's the best on air. We all know it's you, but but there's things you don't talk about in normal life when you're a manager, and Pittman has to talk about that every day. and other coaches do too. It's
You
just
think
the nature of it.
you ever think he says something and he doesn't quite 100% believe himself?
Never.
Think he ever says something that he's not truly convicted about, just to keep people happy?
Well, you have to say you're going to beat Alabama,
particularly when
you
you're
have
trying
to say you're going for a championship.
Well, but when it comes to roster management, you're trying to massage 85 scholarship egos and 20 more players that want that last scholarship that's open right now, and all of these things that, and coaches that are good recruiters do a good job, Ty, of making everyone feel like they're the most important person on the roster.
Which you have to do nowadays more than you've ever had to before with the transfer portal.
All grew up stars.
Yeah, but the transfer portal has thrown a new wrench where you have to be more cognizant of that than you've ever had to before as a head football coach. This question that you pose, and I think there's an argument to both sides. To me, and I think it's more of him, as you just said, kind of pushing Cade to, hey, there's still a chance for you to be the backup. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think this would be a Ben Hicks, Nick Starkel situation, because it wasn't the deal with that. Like Craddock wanted one and Morris wanted the other, and there was a feud ongoing. That's at least the optics that we heard.
Those guys
so
are
I don't think, if this happened, and God forbid if KJ goes out, because Arkansas, I mean, you can have the fullest of glasses. If KJ Jefferson goes out with an injury, this season is not going to go according to plan. I don't think I don't even think they debated on it for a second. I think Malik is instantaneously, and this is where you and I differ, which is fine, but I think it's instantaneously, all right, Malik, here's the game plan we're rolling with.
Well,
and Cade, you're the backup as of now. That's my opinion. Again, it's hard for us because we haven't seen a single scrimmage.
Exactly.
We can't, and we have no idea. The only thing that we are taking on is what these coaches have said. And again, the coaches are always going to be positive, blowing up guys, not blowing up on them, but blowing them up and giving them praise and all these lavish exclamation points. And it's like, yeah, in the day, that's my opinion on it. With it's not even an educated guess. It's just a straight non-educated guess.
I think he will get, if something happens to KJ, or if they're blowing out Cincinnati or whoever they blow out, Malik will get the next snap. He will go in next because that's the way it's been set up. The incumbent gets it. Now, does he go 1 series, 2 series? That's up to him. Did he get better? Can he throw a 3rd and 8? I think he'll get the chance to prove that. But if he doesn't, then you got a competition.
But Ty, I think you're right. Coaches publicly and privately, position coaches publicly and privately, have to be more measured with what they say about every player because of the transfer portal. Sometimes you're feeding a little hope here that we have a plan for you. We have a future for you built here. Remember, Hornsby entered the portal, didn't like what he saw, I guess, and came back. Impossibly it was they offered something, hey, come back and we'll create this situation. But you got to remember, getting in that portal, rarely is the grass truly greener on the other side of the portal for most players. It's rare when you look at a player go in from a place like Arkansas and come out in a better spot the other side. It doesn't happen. So, but you're right. Coaches are not only recruiting new players, but they're re-recruiting their current players constantly, which has got to be exhausting for a grown man.
Well, and Arkansas is one of those programs, I'll say program, all major sports that does it well. It's a destination. If you're not happy where you are and you can play, people are coming to Arkansas. The coaches seem to, be very likable. Coaches that relate well to young players, and on the basketball, football, baseball side, I'd say Arkansas. I don't have any data to back it up, but it's got to be one of the top transfer destinations based on what you see coming in.
Look at where you plucked them: Oklahoma, LSU, Georgia,
Florida State.
Alabama, Florida State. I mean, those are not exactly programs that are by the wayside. Florida State may be, but I mean, that's where you got them from these last couple of years. Warren comes over from Florida State. Drew comes over from Alabama. You got these guys that were at big-time schools and were either playing, and Drew was starting at one point. I think Latavius started some games and then didn't start the others, but it's a big deal. Basketball-wise, we know what Musselman's done in the portal. Baseball, to me, they didn't hit on as many of the big caliber guys this past offseason. I think Dave would have liked. I think he'd be open and honest that there would have been 1 or 2 of the players that were coming from bigger baseball schools that they would have loved to get. But yeah, football-wise, man, you just go down the list of the institutions these guys were playing at. 100%. Now, if a 4 or 5-star Tennessee Vol wants to come over, Bruce, I know you probably hate.
We don't have any.
You probably hate that Toto is a Crimson Tide guy, isn't he? Especially the way that he's going to be good. That's just how it is in SEC football. And Sam Pittman got asked about that at media days, and he's been asked about it since. And he was like, well, I can't really be against the rule because we're using it to our advantage. And so I think that's how coaches don't like it, but they're still using it to their advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%.
I mean, look, basically made an even swap with LSU this year. I mean, so it's hard to argue that the transfer portal's bad on one hand when you're plucking players out of it on the other. So, it's part of today's world. I still think these old, crusty veteran coaches either adjust and get with today's times, or you do what we've seen some veteran coaches do in basketball in particular. You hang it up and move on, because NIL and transfer portal, there may be some tweaks, but they're here to stay. They're not going away.
No, not at all.
Anyway,
go ahead.
What are you looking for this Saturday? I mean, with Arkansas. It's a game that's unusual for game one for Arkansas as far as ranked opponent. We heard Tom at the top of the hour, and he's going to join us a little bit later on in the show. 1980, you go back to having a ranked opponent in this situation where both teams are ranked. What's important for you this Saturday for you to see about with these Razorbacks?
I think a couple of things that Coach Pittman said this week. If you make 13 penalties like he did against Rice last year, you probably won't win this game. You'll probably not be able to overcome that. So that kind of stuck out. Are they going to have the discipline? I would think with this offensive line, you're going to have very few holding, very few illegal motion penalties. So I'm counting on fewer penalties. And then for me, I guess the star factor, as I watched the Tennessee Titans this week and saw Treylon Burks catch 3 passes for 33 yards, catch his first touchdown pass as a pro in a preseason game. Who's going to be that elite guy? Who's going to be the dependable receiver to take the place of the biggest hands in college football? Mr. Dependability, should have been first-team All-American. And, I think that's what I want to see come out of this game. Who's going to ascend to the top of the ranks? Who can get open and who can catch a ball?
You've got two teams that return 4 or 5 starters on their offensive lines. Who can run the ball? Who can keep their quarterback clean? Who wins the battle at the lines of at the battle line, at the line of scrimmage, both ways? Can Arkansas's defensive line move and create problems and control a gap and all the things you want to see your defensive line can do against an experienced college football playoff level offensive line from a year ago? And then can Arkansas keep KJ clean when he does drop back? Can they find him some gaps? I think that's an interesting thing about Ty. You got two teams with experienced offensive lines. Do they look that way, particularly the guys in red?
They lost their running back last year, didn't they, Tommy? Cincinnati?
I believe
the guy
that is
had
correct.
Like 1,400 yards or something. I'm trying to remember. I think it was
quarterback and running back are two areas, but offensive line is not an area with Cincinnati that they got. Both teams have a lot of returning
because they got
experience
5
up there.
and Arkansas has 4, so yeah, they do have that advantage. It's Jerome Ford, I think was the guy's name, if I remember that right. He got picked by the Browns. Arkansas has this again. It's not like this is going to be a cakewalk. I don't want anyone to think that, but you were talking about like what the matchups are. You are so lucky as an Arkansas fan that you don't have to go up against Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant. I mean, you are, and Ritter too. Ritter's slinging it the other night. You got lucky that Cincinnati got depleted. Now they're not gonna come here thinking that way. But if Gardner and Bryant were still on this team, and you still have question marks about these wide receivers, you can say what you want about fall camp. Fall camp doesn't mean anything until you actually do it on the field. I don't care if it's an SEC opponent or Cincinnati. You're lucky that you're not having to go up against first and second round guys on the outside when it comes to lining up at wide receiver.
Did you see Buffalo Wild Wings has a new sauce named after Sauce Gardner?
Really?
True fact.
Awesome.
It's called Sauce Sauce.
How about that?
You can get it, I think, this week.
Okay. Might have to. Or they might have some Arkansas fans if it's. Might have to do that. I know some Cincinnati fans will do it. Line of scrimmage. I mean, defensive line still the biggest question mark of this football team, man. It's going to be that until they answer the bell. And they listed 4 guys, and I guess 4 positions, 8 guys in the depth chart of the defensive line. You don't know if Barry's going to whip out a 4-2-5 or he's going to whip out a 3-2-6. It'll probably be a mix of both. But if Arkansas doesn't have a defensive line, I don't care what they have at the back end of linebacker, they're still going to struggle at times. This will not be a complete defense unless you can get pressure and stop the run. And to this point, you cannot confidently say that that is going to happen. There's not a single Arkansas fan out there that says, you know what, these defensive line, they're going to be salty this year. They're going to be good. You can hope that that's going to happen, but you can't sit here on Tuesday, 4 days out, and say this defensive line, it's going to be a menace, because you don't have dudes that you're just supremely confident in at this point. You do a linebacker, you do in the back end, you do not on the defensive line at this point. Now, that doesn't mean that that's subject to change, but at this point in time, you cannot be 100% confident that this is going to go according to plan, at least on that front four or front three, however they play it this year.
Yeah, I think you'll see a variety. They got 4 listed with two DNs, 2 tackles, but they also got a nickel. So I think you'll see more 3 and get everybody kind of in front of you and play that umbrella type defense, and that's just Barry Odom's style. So I think that's a question you're asking: can you get pressure with 3? And we've seen Arkansas do that. Are these guys as good as Ridgeway and the guys you had a year ago? We don't know yet, but we didn't think Ridgeway was going to be the player he turned out to be, at least in September. He was a man and hard to handle, Bruce, that first month. So, that is an area of the team, more so than offense, that we've got to figure out, what you really have there.
A&M could not block Williams. They could not. Texas couldn't block him. They couldn't block anyone. But then you started playing better offensive lines, and things kind of changed up a little bit. It can't be a 4-game stint. It's got to be at least a 12-game stint plus whatever bowl game you play in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it will be an interesting, evaluation, if you will. And, again, I come back to Cincinnati, by all accounts, quality team, truly a top 25 team. This can be one of the best 2 or 3 ball games of the weekend in the country. If you come up short, now if you get dominated, it's a different conversation. If you play well and you come up short, I think we got to pause a little bit. I'm not, already trying to taint it here a little bit, but we got to understand the season isn't lost if you don't win this football game on Saturday. It doesn't mean you're not going to win SEC games. And I know how we are as fans. We're all going to overreact, and I'll probably be right in line with you. But we got to understand that this is a good measuring stick, and if you lose against Cincinnati, Bruce, it doesn't mean you're going to lose to South Carolina as well.
No, and, that's the good and the bad of playing a quality opponent. I mean, you could play a low-level MAC team like a lot of SEC teams, or I guess you could go to Hawaii like Vanderbilt did and feel good about yourself. But you're going to know exactly where you stand against a well-coached, just well-stocked football team in Cincinnati. So this is probably an SEC-type line, offensive line you're going to see. It's an elite coach. And, you're going to get their best shot. There's nothing they'd love more than to come in here and beat Arkansas. So you're going to get effort the whole game. And you're going to know everything you need to know about Arkansas after one game. But you're right. You could win your next 3 or 4 games, even if you lose this game.
Well, no rain in the forecast this week. Saturday's forecast right now in Fayetteville is sunny and 90 degrees for the daytime high. So it's going to be a perfect day for football. It's also a great time for early morning fishing. We got temperatures overnight dropping into the mid-60s right now. I know the fish got to be loving those cooler water temperatures.
They are, and you get out and wade some of these streams like Lee Creek, Kings River, Washita River. Take a 3-inch yum dinger, wacky rig it, which just means you put a little hook in the middle of it and toss it around the bank, and you're going to catch smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, and black perch. Topwater works well, like a little P50 Rebel Pop R, but it's a good time to get in the water. You can cool off, fish a couple of hours, and then go watch the hogs on game day and get a little fishing in. But it's a great time of year to go wading.
Friday night, go to a high school football game. Saturday morning, go fishing. Get back by 11 or so. Watch you some college football all day.
Sounds like a plan.
Sunday morning, get up, do it again.
Repeat.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
Do that for about 12 weeks in a row.
Hey, we're getting ready to talk about Gaston's. Give us a little idea if you're going that way, what you might take for Bull Shoals on the other side of the dam, or maybe below the dam on the White River right now.
Well, Bull Shoals, I'm going to throw a topwater bait. I'm going to throw a Booyah Boss Pop that you can get on lurenet.com. Probably something in one of the translucent patterns, like a moonface shad. Just something I can work main lake points, and then I'll probably take a thumping dinger, a yum thumping dinger on a 1/8 ounce War Eagle jig head, and work those main lake points and see if I can rustle up a few bass in that clear water. And then I'm going to go below the dam at Gaston's with a Rebel TD47 track down minnow, about 2 1/4 inches long, probably in a rainbow or brown trout color, and jerk that around the edges and see if I can catch me a brown or one of those nice rainbows.
That sounds like a good plan. Good to see. We'll talk next week about all the games this weekend.
Go Vols.
All right, there you go. Bruce Stanton, Pradco Fishing. We'll edit the last part out in the final showing here of the Morning Rush. We did talk about Gaston's 870-431-5202. Bruce gave you a great plan of what to fish there on the river, or if you want to stay at Gaston's and fish the lake, you can do that as well. 870-431-5202. Gaston's, a first-class time every time.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the Morning Rush. Get by your local Toyota dealer for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places.
How much life can you fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4?
Hun, can you grab me a swan float? They're in the RAV4.
The pink one or the yellow one?
How about 69.8 cubic feet for inflatable fun?
Want me to put the address in the RAV4's GPS?
No. I know exactly where yeah.
Thought so.
Up to 40 miles of uncharted terrain per gallon.
Get in the RAV4. Get in the RAV4. I did not expect mountain lions out here.
That's a cat.
But it's big though, right?
Yeah, big kitty.
That's 37.7 inches of headroom for tall tales.
Hey, pull into that taco stand here. I'm starving. I'm grabbing 2 number 4s.
And grab 2 for me.
And 2 to 4 number 4s for the largest appetites. The numbers add up. It's amazing how much life you can fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4. Visit your local dealer or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability. EPA estimated 41 city, 38 highway, 40 combined MPG for 2022 RAV4 XSE hybrid.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Stop by your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 and Rogers in Fort Smith, where it's happy hour all day, every day. Stop by anytime and try our $4 cocktails. Choose from a Bloody Mary, Cape Cod, Tequila Sunrise, Whiskey Sour, and more. There's also $5 glasses of wine, and Miller Lite 12-ounce drafts are always just $2. Get to TGI Fridays for lunch Monday through Friday for our $9.99 burger deal, available until 3 p.m. and comes with fries and a soft drink, tea, or Miller Lite draft. Order online for pickup at Fridays.com.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Like beer.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Anheuser-Busch, Busch, and Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Building a home can be stressful. This is true whether you're the homeowner or the contractor. Many times these issues result in a lawsuit. If you are a homeowner or a contractor and find yourself needing legal help, call the attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partner. With experience representing homeowners as well as non-payment or other issues that could arise during construction. Contact Brad Hull or Kevin Hickey at 479-434-2414 in the River Valley or 479-802-6560 in Northwest Arkansas. Or check them out on the web at artriallawyers.com.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Would printing from your phone or tablet make your life easier? Are you emailing files to yourself so that you can print them from your desktop or laptop? The Xerox VersaLink and AltaLink lines of network printers and multifunction printers will natively print using your phone's built-in capabilities. Apple AirPrint and Google Cloud Printing just work. To order yours today, give us a call at 783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment, not having enough home time, feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Hey, this is Jason Christie from Park Hill, Oklahoma, the 2022 Bassmaster Classic champion. I'm excited to tell you about the Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. It is a smaller version of the Poppin' Pad Crasher, and it's a bait I'm going to use all summer on the Arkansas River. Frog fishing is one of my favorite things to do when summer fishing, and Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. is the right size and has the right hook set up to catch them. It's available at lurenet.com and tackle stores everywhere. The Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas football. It's the players running through the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Oh, yes, sir.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas wins the national championship! The Arkansas Razorbacks have completed the dream season!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
Sam Pittman gave us some updates on injuries yesterday, including the status of Brady Latham and Jaden Hazelwood, who both should be ready for Saturday. He said, I think they're going to get him back yesterday and get Devin Manuel back to backup offensive lineman for Arkansas. Now, the injury that most of you have been wondering about is the status of running back Dominique Johnson.
We're going to try to add to his reps today. I think we need to do some cutting with him where we're not telling him, where in other words, go to that cone and take a right, go to this cone and take a left. I think we've got to do some things where he's catching the ball out of the backfield. I don't want him involved in possibilities of guys on the ground inside and things of that nature. Not the first day. We'll try to progress that, but somewhere he can catch the ball and have to make a move off of a defender.
You think he plays Saturday?
Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound to me. I mean, I'm just reading into that quote, but it doesn't sound like they have a lot of trust that physically he's at where he needs to be with lateral movement. But this whole may be a decoy.
Because they had that gamesmanship.
It could all be coach speak, and maybe he gets a handful of carries. The question is, will he be a feature back? Because last week, that's exactly how he was described by Sam Pittman, was you've got Rocket Sanders, and when Dominique's healthy and back, he's a feature back as well. So I don't expect in game one, if he appears to have feature back numbers, which would be what? 10 or 12, closer to 15 carries, pushing 100 yards. That to me are feature back type attempts and numbers. The really good ones in the right game plan get 20 carries. I don't think you're going to see anything close to that just based on how limited he is in practice. If you can't practice, you generally can't play that much.
The depth chart came out for offense and defense as well. We've talked about it throughout the morning. You can find it at ArkansasRazorbacks.com if you want to go in there and look at that. No surprise, or I say no surprises. Not really that many surprises. You've been on kind of that front this morning, Tommy, when you look at both sides. I would say more defensively than offensively. Yeah,
I'd say more clarification than surprises. Nothing on offense stands out to you at all as far as the number ones. You could maybe talk about some of the backups and who got the number 2 slots. On the defensive side, all the names, it's not a surprise that Ladarius Bishop is the one and Chavis is the 2 at one corner, and that Hudson Clark starts at the other corner. Not a surprise there. That's, McLaughlin is in that mix. That could all change and get jumbled. I think you'll see all of those guys play. I think we just got clarification about where we're at right now at corner.
And you made a great point earlier. Just because this is the depth chart now doesn't mean it'll be the same way next week or the week after by season's end. It also doesn't even mean the guys that are on the ones in the depth chart are going to finish out the game. You know how it goes. Sometimes guys just have better games than the starter. They coming off the bench or whatever, and they get stuck in and left in at the end of the game. So I'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on that. I know that y'all don't have your binoculars out like my grandpa used to. I'll tell you what is probably the most soothing thing to me inside of Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. My grandpa, the late Daddy Joe, used to do the radio headset and with the antenna up, and he had his binoculars out. So he'd listen to he'd listen to Chuck, and then he'd have his binoculars out watching the game. And it was probably the funniest thing. I always thought it was kind of goofy to do, but now when I see some older gentlemen do it nowadays, it brings me back home.
I bet he was listening to Paul probably more than Chuck.
Paul and Chuck, because I told you, he had two heart attacks inside of Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. That guy was not missing a bleeping game as long as he was still upright. I'll tell you what.
As far as depth chart, things to still watch, punter, Bauer or Fletcher's kind of there. They think he talked yesterday, Coach did about Fletcher and how he can boom it, but they trust Reed Bauer. We know Cam Little's going to be the place kicker. Kickoffs, that's still something worth watching. So there's a few things you might watch in the specialists that I think are truly still battles at this point. I think punter is absolutely one of them.
That's going to do it for your Hog Update, brought to you by Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
I was talking about soothing earlier. Haven't heard from this guy in a while. He's got a newborn that I think is coming up on a year. Is that right, Kagan? You're coming up on a year, right?
No, she's 4 months old right now.
Okay, so it's still in the early stages. How's it been going, man? How's the father life treating you?
Oh man, it's going great. She's a good little girl, and she likes to eat just like every other baby does. She's getting where she sleeps all night, which is great for us. But no, I was calling it, man. I figured out where to get the KJ Jefferson shirt. I was going to let y'all know that.
Heck yeah, man. Did you get it from...
Got a onesie coming. Got a onesie for my baby coming, too.
That looks the one you tweeted at us looks like the ones that KJ's family wears. So I'm guessing they've got some place that's hooked them up with those.
Yes, sir. I got the hook up for them now. I know where to get them.
That's awesome, man.
That's going to be my game day shirt.
So you're going to be set up in that. Your daughter's going to be set up in that. Did you get your wife one as well? Is it going to be a whole...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
She's like, I don't need that. I said, well, too bad. I done paid for it. Supposed to be here before Friday.
Yeah.
If you don't want... No, I'm sure y'all are like me. You can't wait for football. Yeah. I believe we're going to have a good football team this year.
Yeah, it might be the longest 4 days of our life this week, Kagan. Thanks for the call. If you don't know what Kagan's talking about, those shirts, if you've seen KJ's family on TV, it's basically just kind of a montage of pictures of KJ. It's what they'd call sub-dyed into a shirt, but it's pretty sweet. It's pretty unique. If you're a KJ fan, that's a must-have.
And Kagan and his family are going to be sporting them. I don't know if it's just going to be this Saturday, but I would guess it's going to be multiple Saturdays. If you remember, Kagan had a great story. He was up in Northwest Arkansas. He works for an energy company, and he messaged Traylon Burks messaged KJ about, hey, I'm up here, could you sign a football? KJ was kind enough to message him back, sign a football. Then he called Traylon as well. And so Kagan was just hanging out with Traylon and KJ last year, which I thought was an awesome story, an awesome gesture on your current starting quarterback and your former favorite wide receiver. So I know that Kagan is one of the biggest Arkansas supporters out there, and I'm pumped that he's pumped for this season as I am.
All right, so we're 4 days out, Arkansas and Cincy this Saturday. When you go to the stadium, yes, you're going to eat at the tailgate, but don't overdo it, because when you get inside, you're going to smell the glorious smell of CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. I was at CJ's in Russellville on Saturday.
Ooh.
As good as I always remember. And when you're out, running the roads for a high school game on on Friday night. Maybe your team's playing somewhere that direction. Exit 81's a must-stop. If you're in the stadium or you're just in Northwest Arkansas for this weekend for the game, or you're like us, you're here all the time in Fayetteville, Weddington, that's the exit to go to find CJ's location in Northwest Arkansas. But wherever you're at this morning, when you're at the stadium on Saturday, CJ's, stop by their concession stand and get you a great burger.
In the East Concourse and 2 in the North End Zone. Again, you don't have to just stop at the Weddington or Arkansas Avenue location. When you step foot inside the Mecca, that is Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, you can have some delicious food as well. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. When all you do are burgers, they have to be the best, and they are at CJ's. That's like my brother's favorite. He's coming up this weekend for the game. He will not leave Fayetteville. He does it every time he gets CJ's, and he gets like a gallon of fry sauce.
I may have to go by there today and get one of them chicken sandwiches. They don't have those at Russellville, only in Fayetteville. That chicken sandwich with pepper jack cheese.
It's hard to beat. Hard to beat. Tom Murphy joins us to start hour 3.
Save big on fiberglass in-ground pools at the Burton Pools and Spa's Inventory Reduction Sale. Get the pool your family has been begging for and save up to $7,000. Plus, get a free salt generator or 2 ledge loungers. 6 models to choose from while supplies last. At Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Call, come by, or visit burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, where you can get your feet wet without getting in over your head.
Hog fans, this is Matt.
And this is Robert.
And a Stadium Shop First, this is Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's right. We finally talked Mom into a commercial. We are a mom and pop store after all. So while I got you both here, what's going on with the stockroom? We have so much Razorback stuff for the football season, I have to go outside to change my mind.
Well, you remember last year how much trouble we had with the supply chain, just getting stuff in.
And how we were running out of sizes.
Yeah, and?
Well, that ain't gonna happen this year.
Yeah, we ordered enough stuff this year to last for quite a while.
Well, that does make sense. Folks, please come and get some of this hog stuff out of my stockroom. I am running out of space.
We're located at 989 South Razorback Road next to Baum Walker Stadium, or you can call us at 479-STADIUM. That's 479-782-3486. Matt, why don't you tell them about the WW stuff?
That's shoponrazorback.com. That's shoponrazorback.com. Folks, it just doesn't get more Razorback than us.
Go Hogs.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Woo, it's hotter than car lot asphalt. That can mean only one thing. It's time for the Rath Auto Resources Summer Sales Drive. Every summer, we set our goals to sell more cars than the year before and break every sales record. That means huge savings for you on a great selection of Rath Road Ready premium pre-owned vehicles. Each one hand-picked and reconditioned in our Meineke Car Care Center. Don't let the lot fool you. When they're moving this fast, most of the inventory never makes it to the lot or the internet. No worries. Just call, click, or come by and let one of our friendly non-commissioned solution specialists help you find the perfect vehicle and work it all out so the price and payment fits your budget. It couldn't be simpler, and the summer sales drive makes it the perfect time to save. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3 get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, start driving better today and save big during the summer sales drive. Only at Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Doe's Eat Place, serving award-winning steaks, has now added lobster tail and salmon to the menu. You can also enjoy delicious appetizers along with your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Doe's Eat Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended. Call 784-9111. That's 784-9111. Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. From general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics, Dr. Bo Sparkman and Dr. Brogan give all of their patients better lives with a better smile. more confidence, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
The Golf Nut has been Fort Smith's #1 golf shop since 1994. Beat the heat, book a time in their hitting base with the TrackMan technology, or play around on one of the many courses like Bethpage Black or Pebble Beach. Needing help with your game? Call Matt Brooks today and schedule a lesson using the simulator. For the best selection of clubs, shoes, and apparel, stop by the Golf Nut today. 5121 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, your #1 stop shop for everything golf.
Have a loan with a variable to balloon rate? That might be a problem if it's due to reprice soon. Let Farm Credit fix your problem with a long-term fixed interest rate loan. Farm Credit's terms are the longest in the ag industry, ensuring you'll have peace of mind for years to come. At Farm Credit, you have nothing to lose. When rates begin to drop, you can easily readjust your rate again with no refinancing application, no new appraisals, no new title work. We make it simple. Find a Farm Credit office near you at myaglender.com. Equal housing lender.
Save up to $8,000 off on a great pre-owned vehicle at Harry Robinson's Salisal Ford. The manager specials are right on the front row. These are wonderful vehicles. Cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Many still have factory warranty remaining with discounts up to $8,000 off. And at Harry Robinson, you always get more for your trade. These savings and the best selection on pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs is at Harry Robinson's Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisal.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, some sunshine, a chance of seeing showers and storms, especially across the south today. Our high this afternoon, upper 80s to low 90s. We will clear out and cool down tonight. An overnight low near 60 north, 70 south. Sunny skies, mid to upper 80s on Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by W&W Automotive Complete Automotive Service and Repair, 242-1600. You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris Fort Smith.
This game will be the first for Arkansas since 1980 where you're ranked and the opponent is ranked for a season opener. Do you kind of feel like there could be a little more national attention?
We're on ESPN. You want that for the program, publicity for the program, and now the expectations are certainly high, and they're high in our building as well. I think opening up against a top 25 program, which I think Cincinnati's higher than that even, I think they would do well in the SEC. I know that.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son? I don't know what that was all about.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
That seducer and spoiler must be stopped. He's extremely dangerous.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's hour number 3 of the Morning Rush on a Toyota Tuesday. Depth chart is out. Sam Pittman chatted with us yesterday. We're going to also chat with the guy that just posed the question to Sam Pittman, Tom Murphy. I thought it was a really good question. You got to go all the way back to the 80s since you've had a ranked team against a ranked team to open it up in Razorback Stadium. That seems a little long, but last time, 06, you weren't ranked.
Right.
USC was, but you weren't ranked.
Yeah, but that didn't also tell the full story of what was to come for that season because we know how the rest of 06 unfolded. All right, Tom, in just a second, we're brought to you by the Fence Man. When it comes time for new gates or fences or anything at your home that involves fencing or gates or even at work, if you need commercial chain link fence, you need the razor wire around the top of a security fence for a job site or maybe a permanent site that needs better security, the Fence Man does anything involving fencing. Gates, custom wrought iron installations, controlled access, and just if you need a simple chain link fence at your house, they can do that. You need an 8-foot chain link fence around a site at work. They can do that. 782-3936 is their number. That's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
All right, before we get to Tom, let's talk to JJ, who's right here in Fayetteville. JJ, you want to talk about this upcoming season. Fire away.
Yes, sir.
I just want to see what you guys thinking. I'm 22. I'm pretty young, but my years I'm born in Fayetteville, grew up here. I've never seen a Razorback team with more depth than this upcoming season. And I don't know about you guys, but I believe, if we stay healthy and KJ's healthy, why couldn't we go to the college football playoffs? I mean, if somebody's not doing their job, either, you look at the defense, you've got all those transfers, you've got Hudson Clark, you've got Blair, Slusher, Catalan, Brini, McLaughlin, and then linebacker position, Bump, the Alabama recruit,
Drew Sanders,
and then the defensive line. I've heard, I've been keeping it up, and they just seem to get better and better and better. And then 4 out of 5 offensive linemen coming back. Is this like a Cinderella story, you think, for Arkansas? Is this the time finally after, 3 years of the Pittman era? Is this where we're going to take that next step and not just be, a good SEC team, but a great one, and that can compete for the, the West title?
Mm-hmm. JJ, it's a good question. When you say depth, I think about 2 deep or 3 deep at a position. Now, I think JJ's coming from the standpoint as we welcome Tom Murphy into the conversation. Tom's a good place to begin because depth's such a huge factor in being able to go to a championship game. I think when you line Arkansas's first 22 up, their starters either side of the ball, they've got a case to compete. I think it's when you get into players 23 through, mid-40s or the third string into the 60s, that's where the conversation probably doesn't stack up to the elites of the league. But I think JJ's point, there is depth in the starters, which means keeping everybody healthy, obviously, is paramount. Good morning, and how you doing, Tom?
I'm doing quite well, and it's an interesting perspective that he had, that there is some depth and all, but it is a few positions, D tackle in particular, but also cornerback. Even though they're talking about they have great depth, I want to see how these guys handle the man coverage. But that'll play out on the field on Saturdays. But yeah. I just think there's so many tough games. Road game at BYU, the annual gamut of SEC road games. It's just we saw a very good edition of the Razorbacks last year, and they competed in basically every game other than Georgia, but they still had a clunker against Auburn. I mean, it's just hard week after week to get up to that level that Bama has already established. And so I do believe there's a little bit of a wave of depth between the Bamas and the Arkansas right now.
I mean, you just look first at the offensive line. There are 5 guys that, as Coach likes to say, have played a lot of ball. 4 returning starters, and you add Luke Jones. You got juniors and seniors up front. You look after that, and you got 3 true freshmen that are listed as number 2s that, as he would say, haven't played a lot of ball. And, so there is depth, there is numbers in places, but experienced quality depth is, I think, a different conversation. Would you agree?
Different conversation. And, I think Tykeas Crawford is lineman number 6.
Mm-hmm.
But then, he said yesterday, the next group, I like Chamblee and Harris and Kudus, and he said that's kind of the next wave. So those are, freshmen, and I know they're going to get better, and they're bigger dudes and athletic, skillful O-linemen. But to think that they'd be ready to go wage it in the SEC West right now is asking a lot of them.
Tom, I thought you asked the best question at the press conference yesterday, the one we played at the top of our open. And you can tell there's a sense of urgency from that team. Playing on ESPN, top 25 matchup. What do you think about the fact that it's been since 1980 that we haven't seen a ranked opener inside of Donald W.?
Yeah, schools generally don't schedule a big-time game right out of the chute. It's becoming a little more of the norm. I know the 2014 Razorbacks opened at Auburn and were tied at halftime, but that team Arkansas wasn't worthy of being ranked, and Auburn was at the time. So it's factors that come into play. How good are the Razorbacks, and then what does their schedule look like? And I think the USC year back in 5 or 6, USC very highly regarded, and the Razorbacks weren't to that level yet. So I think it's a great showcase, and there's competing storylines here. One, Cincinnati, if they lose it, it's like, well, you guys are a really good program, but not SEC quality level, because this is not a top tier right now SEC program. And then if Arkansas can't win it, then it's like, well, are they really built to challenge in the SEC West right now? So good competing storylines, one of 3 top 25 matchups on the day. So it's going to be, I think there's some national media coming, and it's going to get a lot of great coverage.
Tom, the biggest feedback that we've gotten from our listeners this morning is, why is Hudson Clark listed as a starter? And that's what Will wanted me to ask you about. That seems to be the biggest pushing point. Why do you think Hudson Clark beat out McLaughlin, Johnson, Kari Johnson, some of the other guys he went up against?
Well, my question to whoever asked you to ask me that is, have they been paying attention throughout camp? Day one, Hudson Clark's been with the one. He's the only cornerback who's been with the ones every day in this camp. Bishop had a hamstring or quad or something that was going on in spring, and so he wasn't himself in the spring. And then, McLaughlin had some kind of nagging thing at the start of camp, and with him, he's a pretty high-strung dude. And it's a guy you just have to keep your eyes on, basically, and monitor so he doesn't, do anything wild. But I think, Bishop had a lot of run with the ones. Malik Chavis had some good run with the ones. And maybe McLaughlin winds up being a starter. But if he does, it would be opposite Hudson Clark right now. And he was there in the fastball starts yesterday. But I also think we're going to see a pretty good mix of all those guys I just mentioned, and possibly even Kari Johnson this year.
Yeah. We spoke about this a little bit in our conversations last week. You wrote on some of this over the weekend about Arkansas and will they have a 1,000-yard rusher, and will KJ be able to throw for 3,000 yards this year? Kind of what's your final conclusion as we're on the doorstep of the season? Does anyone at Arkansas achieve 1,000 yards, and can KJ be the arm that leads this team to 3,000 through the air?
Yeah, I think they're going to have somewhat balanced running, because I think Dominic Johnson will come back, and on that you've got 2 really good running backs between Rocket Sanders and Dominic Johnson. But I also think A.J. Green and Rashad Dubinion are going to get some run this year. And when you add all that together with the fact that KJ is a good runner, it's just hard to manufacture a 1,000-yard season out of that, unless there's an injury or something and Rocket really has to carry the load. So I'm going to say no on the 1,000-yard rusher. I don't know. Maybe it's just my own personal hope that KJ, I guess to minimize the chance for injury, that KJ doesn't run as much this year. But the truth of it is, if that's where the read takes him and he needs to get a run in, he's going to run the ball. I just hope it's not up to 664 yards. Yeah. And when I brought that up to Kendall Briles, he kind of laughed and he said he was cool with winning games, no matter what that took. So, and then on the 3,000-yard front, my projection was a little bit more than the 2676 he threw for, somewhere around 2,800, 2,900, I believe. But I do believe it's within the realm because there's such a diversity of the receiving corps now and guys he can trust. There's a chance he could get up to 3,000 if he has a couple of 3 really big games.
Yeah. What about the offensive line and keeping KJ clean this year? Will sacks be a problem this year for Jefferson in this offense?
Well, I mean, the problem is if you get up to, close to around 3 a game or something. Last year they were 2 point something per game. KJ was a lot better at getting the ball out or just going ahead and running than Felipe Franks was the year before. So a lot of those sacks in 2020 were, Felipe not releasing the ball sacks. I don't know if they're going to be a problem. It's the timing of when you get them. Like, for instance, the strip sack against Auburn. that was almost like a game-defining type of a play in your own end zone, and it wound up in an automatic Auburn touchdown. Those are the ones you have to avoid. I think there's going to be some sacks allowed. Teams are going to bring stuff, and, in scrimmage, too, Barry Odom and the defense schemed up a lot of pressures, and Sam Pittman said they had a little bit of trouble covering. This is a veteran front. So you're not just going to go clean the whole year. Not making it something that, you get 5 in a game or something like that is what you got to avoid.
Let's stay on Barry Odom for a sec. They don't know who's going to start on Saturday. He might have a good idea, but Fickell has not announced it. Does that make it that much more difficult for Coach Odom? Coach Pittman kind of seemed to lean towards that yesterday with some of the guys. What did he say? Sweet tea and liquor? Is that what he referred to?
He's bringing what to the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's that big of an issue because here's the way Sam Pittman described it, that Cincinnati has an attack, and Desmond Ridder was a strong runner too. And so he thinks they're going to kind of fold into what they've done. I mean, Arkansas might see some tweaks out of it, but if Bryant's in the game, they expect it to be more of a passing style deal, although he can run. And if Prater's in the game, probably more of an emphasis on the run. And, I mean, that's what Cincinnati was capable of doing last year, including plays that break down. And I think that's one of the biggest concerns for the Razorbacks is third down plays that break down. If you continue to allow them to move the chains when you've got people covered and the quarterback evades it and keeps moving the chains, that's the kind of thing you got to limit in this game.
Tom, you mentioned Coach Odom's defense having some success that second practice or scrimmage, whatever it was. They're going up against 5 returning offensive line starters. What kind of different things do you think he's going to mix up to get after whoever they line up at quarterback on Saturday?
Right. Well, we know that Drew Sanders is going to be involved in the pass rush because he's got a history of being a good edge guy, and, he's just a great pass rusher. So we know that's going to happen. To me, one of the keys on this team is whether or not they can generate pressure, whether their ends can beat opposing offensive tackles and get in there and move the quarterback. These guys don't have great sack numbers, but we know they play hard and they're technically sound guys. So Shad Stewart and Zach Williams and, Dorian Gerald, Jordan Dominic, guys like that have got to start producing this year so you don't have to send extra blitzers to get pressure. And if they can do that, they'll have first of all, I think Arkansas is going to have a solid defense. If they can generate pressure from 4 men going, then they'll be all the better for it because that way you can provide a little more coverage. You can mix your coverages on the back end better.
Yeah. Temperatures forecasted for around 90 degrees on Saturday. No rain as of current in the forecast for game day. Tom, what is your expectation of the atmosphere, and what kind of crowd do you think will generate a home edge for the Razorbacks?
Yeah, I expect it to be something along the lines of the Texas, maybe not quite as, loud, but I mean, in moments of the game, this is going to be a big time crowd. I don't think they'll rush the field if they win the game like they did against Texas. But Arkansas fans, they know. I mean, the spotlight's on us a little bit this weekend. It's a big game in terms of the growth of our program. If we can win against the team that was in the playoff last year and is ranked, it just kind of propels you forward into that home opener against South Carolina. So I expect it to be quite electric with, the SEC Nation being here and everything. There's going to be great attention on this game.
Yeah, another year removed from COVID, season opener, 2 ranked opponents, a returning quarterback. I think you would not surprise me is when the attendance numbers announced if it was at least larger from an attendance standpoint than the Texas game last year.
Yeah, I mean, good point, Tommy. I'm sure it's a sellout. I haven't seen any news on this, but if not a sellout now, probably approaching it, and I'm sure there'll be walk up and great interest. And 70. What is it now? 76,000.
Yeah, so what do we consider a sellout now? Is it 76? Is it 80? We know that you can fit more than 76 in there. We know that. So I don't know what you consider a true sellout.
To me, a sellout now is 80 plus.
Yeah, to me, you got to get to 80, and they've never done that other than a Garth Brooks concert. I don't know that they're not going to get to 80 for this, but if you told me there were 77 or 78,000 there, I mean, last year Texas was 76 something, wasn't it? And it was the 10th largest crowd. So if you beat that number, I honestly, that's kind of my expectation, Tom.
I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, people are high on what this team is and what Sam Pittman has built it into, and you want your team to have an edge against a well-regarded opponent that's ranked. So, yeah, I don't doubt that the atmosphere is going to be huge, and 77,000 plus would be really sweet.
And I would say, if you win game 1, game 2 could be that, but with an 11 a.m. start, South Carolina, even with a Razorback win, may not be as large a crowd just because of game time. So could be 2 great atmospheres and really kind of showcase how that stadium can hold its sound. We still don't have a great feel for what the new north end zone can bring to the party, as Coach Pittman liked to say yesterday. Will it be sweet tea or liquor? I guess maybe you can find out Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I don't know. He's just such an ease to cover because of his homespun quotes are fantastic. And hey, week 3, Bobby Petrino's coming back. There's a chance for 3 really nice crowds in a row to open this season.
Yeah, that's a night game, so that probably beckons a little more interest from some that like to have the full day to prepare for kickoff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, good stuff. We'll do it again Thursday and be right on the doorstep. We'll be on the threshold of the season when we chat again.
I love the sound of it. Talk to y'all then.
All right, Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, also writes for Whole Hog Sports with us every Tuesday and Thursday here on the Morning Rush. Hey, attention sports fans, your favorite sports book. BetUS.com is back for its 28th year. NFL action, college football action, all the action. U.S. Open's underway. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues like the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. We got the World Series coming up in a month or so. So, I mean, it's going to be a ton of fun in October for baseball. They've got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and they have live dealers that are waiting for you at the tables. Call today, 800-79-BET-US. That's 800-79-BET-US, and they'll walk you through setting up an account and get that 200% bonus on your first deposit. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, or head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
I want to go back to where JJ, right here in Fayetteville, started the conversation, was what has to happen for this to be a Cinderella season. You have certain pieces that allow you to contemplate that. You're up the middle. Said it before, I'll say it again. All SEC quarterback, all American center, all SEC linebacker, second in all of college football and tackles in his career, and then all American safety. That is a recipe for success. But if you want to have a Cinderella story like you would in your wildest dreams to come true, that defensive line has to not just live up to its own coaching staff's expectations, but they have to be above and beyond that. You go back to 06, 2010, 2011, 02, 98. The list goes on and on. Some of the dudes, Dan Hampton, as Clay likes to refer to, Lloyd Phillips, and all these dudes, those teams that had a chance to win a national championship or get to the college football playoff, like JJ just asked, they had dudes on the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the football. I don't know if you have that. At this point in time, you probably say you don't. But if you want to get to that point where you have a chance to sit up there with Bill Hancock, the executive director of the college football playoff, it's going to be up to Gregory, Nichols, Hampton, and those guys up front to get after Bryce Young, Rodgers, and every other player that you're going to go up against the quarterbacks this fall.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the Morning Rush. Get by your local Toyota dealer for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places.
At Clay Maxey Auto Group, making the relationship has been what we've always been about. Can't control the market, but we can control who we are and how we act every day. And we're just going to be really good at being us. It's always been more than just selling cars or servicing them. It's a people business. We're here to take care of the customer. To me, it's important that it's about the relationship, not the transaction. Come visit us today at Clay Maxey Auto Group.
Arkansas Scholarship Lottery players win more than $1 million every day on scratch-off tickets. Will you be next?
Play the new Monopoly scratch-off games with top prizes from $5,000 to $100,000. You could change your life in an instant.
It's time to play, scratch, and win. Pick up a ticket today. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Call or text 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Calling all fans of flavor, there's something new at your locally owned TGI Fridays in Fort Smith. Fridays Fajitas. Fajitas you love in bold new flavors like dynamite shrimp, tandoori chicken, and the spicier whiskey glaze blaze Tex-Mex. Right now, get free chips and queso with any Fajitas order. Dine in or order online for curbside pickup at Fridays.com. New Fridays Fajitas at your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 and Rogers in Fort Smith.
Visit Metters Lumber True Value for great deals on the supplies you need most. Right now, select your choice of Four Seasons Courtyard Green Deluxe Sports Chair or Blue Oversized Padded Quad Armchair for just $39.99. And keep your furnace working properly with your choice of Filtrete Ultra Allergen Furnace Filters. They're only $17.99. We can also help meet storage needs with your choice of Sterlite 18-gallon storage tote. Get these bargains of the month from Metters Lumber True Value while supplies last. Certain exclusion supply, see store for details.
Have a loan with a variable or balloon interest rate and worried about your cost rising? Interest rates are rising and you may have a problem. Farm Credit can fix that. Talk to Farm Credit about locking in a long-term fixed rate for the life of your loan. Farm Credit's long-term fixed rates offer peace of mind in changing economic times. We're offering the longest terms in the ag industry. Talk to Farm Credit today. Find an office near you at myaglender.com. Equal housing lender.
Hey, this is Chad Warner, product manager for Booyah Bait Company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The hottest swim jig on the Arkansas River right now is the Booyah Mobster. It was designed by the Muddy Water Mob, a bunch of river rats from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it's winning tournaments on Dardanelle and Kerr like clockwork. If you're fishing submerged vegetation, water willow, lily pads, you need a Booyah Mobster to reel them in. Available at lurenet.com and tackle stores throughout Arkansas and Oklahoma, the Booyah Mobster.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
This is Northside head football coach, Coach Felix Curry. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
This is Northside head basketball coach, Eric Burnett. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940. 782-894-8940.
Football and fall, what a great time of the year. It's also a great time to take advantage of York Factory rebates on high-efficiency HVAC products. Give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Good morning to the Morning Rush, everybody.
Jefferson's gone all the way at quarterback. Green gets the call. He's got room inside the 25, inside the 20. Green's going to the house. Touchdown, Arkansas. A.J. Green for 30 yards. The Razorbacks are piling it on now.
Streaming live at hitthatline.com.
The next. Albert lifts it in the air, out to deep right. At the wall. Gone! 694 on an opposite field home run. And it's history. The 450th different pitcher that Albert is homered against. Nobody in the game has ever done that. And that baby is number 694.
6 away, man.
Well, got to get A-Rod next, who's at 696. So a few more to move up on the list. And I just wonder, to me, an interesting question. I know A-Rod was surrounded by, PEDs and all these allegations and just the era of baseball, which Albert Pujols has not had any of those things, any of those fingers pointed his way. But what was the emotion? I know A-Rod's ending was different than what we're talking about here and what was truly a celebration with Albert Pujols, a coronation that's going on right now. But what's that real feeling, that genuine feeling that A-Rod has, knowing you're that close over a lengthy career to 700 home runs and not get there? That's got to, A-Rod doesn't have much to regret when he wakes up in the morning. But
except
not being at 700 home runs.
Letting go of Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, other than J-Lo not being part of the team anymore. But man, being that close to 700.
But he's fourth on the list.
Yeah, but 700 is a magical number. There's only 3 that have done it. And one of them you question with Barry Bonds. You're in there with a Babe.
You don't think
you're in there with Hank Aaron.
You don't think 696 is a magical number?
No.
69?
No, it's not. This 700 is the magic number to be at 700 home runs. I just wonder how, because it would be heartbreaking, and I think he comes back and hits takes as many at bats as he has to next year. I would sure hope he would if Pujols ends up at 698 or 699 and somehow just can't get the magic 700th home run, because you're going to come to a point where all of these games become so important. There's not a guy in there getting some innings that's a lefty that you just get some extra opportunities.
I think when you look at that list, we shake it down. Bonds is not necessarily liked and not necessarily respected because the PEDs. Babe's loved and respected. Hank's loved and respected. A-Rod's not liked or respected. Albert's liked and respected. Even Cubs fans are like, I hate that I have to respect this guy. Mm-hmm. But that's how it's. Brewers fans like, I hate I have to respect this guy. Reds fans, same thing. He's in that Hank Babe. He's not with Bonds and A-Rod. It's like the joke that you've seen the other guys, right? The movie?
Yeah.
With Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell?
Yes.
When Mark Wahlberg, who plays the police officer, shoots Derek Jeter, and a Yankees fan was like, you should have shot A-Rod. Like, just stuff like that. Like, those jokes
Things
are made.
Only a sports fan would say.
Jokes are made at that expense of A-Rod because he's just not liked and stuff. And I don't think you see any connection or whatever with Albert. So I think the collective MLB fan is hoping in the coming weeks that he hits that number. Will he? 6? Are there going to be 6 lefties he faces in the coming weeks that he gets to face? Because they won't pitch him against righties.
No, not very often. His batting average, just the metrics tell you. His batting average is below 200 against righties. He's batting
400,
nearly 500 or whatever against lefties. So, it does. Just Chuck broke it down perfectly. Just his ability to see and get around on the ball from the lefties versus the righties is just a vast difference. But does he play a little bit more? Maybe does he get a little more time at first base? Does he do some things that maybe get him a few more at-bats against righties, perhaps, but I don't think it's going to lead to confident swings.
Do you think if there was a final regular season game in Busch Stadium, and I don't know who the Cardinals close with this year in Busch. I know you were talking about the tickets are astronomically insane.
Maybe the Brewer. I looked at it last week. I can't remember, but yeah, the tickets are just nuts.
You think if there's a Brewers pitcher, lefty or righty, surely in the last game in Busch regular season they'll play him regardless if it's a lefty or righty. If they've clinched the NL Central, it doesn't.
Well, but it's not just about the Central anymore. It's about wild card spots. It's about where you're at with the Braves and the Mets right now. So it's about your overall record too. So we can't just say hey, let's throw him out there. Cardinals are still going to have plenty to play for down to the last week of the season.
They close against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. I bet Phil hopes he breaks the record.
They could throw every lefty they had. You know,
he would be he'd be okay with that. And they play their final game in Busch Stadium this year, Sunday, October 2nd. What do you think that ticket runs for? If Albert is at like $698 or $699, and
there's $400 in April. I don't know what it is now. I looked, but
will it bust the grand average? You think the average ticket will cost $1,000 to see that final regular season game? They'll still have unless they fall apart, they'll be in postseason.
Yeah, but there will be a ton of demand to see some of his what could be his final at-bats. All right, this weekend we got football coming up. We got tailgating, we got home gating, we got high school football on Friday night. Art's Barbecue to the rescue with everything you need for a great home gate or tailgate. If you don't have time to smoke all the ribs and make all the pulled pork and all that, hey, that's what Art's is there for. Maybe you're going to spend your day, you've been watching these recipes on TikTok or Reels on Facebook, and hey, I'm going to try to make a pork butt just like that guy made it on there. Or you got some new recipe you're trying out. Let Arts do the sides as well. Arts has everything you need, baked beans, potato salad, mac and cheese that's outstanding. Plus, they can smoke all the ribs. They can smoke all of the brisket and pulled pork and make it just a wonderful home gate or tailgate for you. And if you're headed up the hill, you just stop by Arts early. You pick it up, up the hill you go, or pick it up on Friday. It's easy to warm up as well. Arts Barbecue, Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith. Get ready for tailgating in football season with Arts Barbecue.
So when we come back, we're going to do our SEC update. What's the SEC football question that you want answered this Saturday and this fall? What's something that you want to know about a team, a quarterback, a coach? We'll get to that next.
This is Toyota Tuesday on the Morning Rush. Get by your local Toyota dealer for a test drive today. Toyota, let's go places.
Save big on fiberglass in-ground pools at the Burton Pools & Spa's Inventory Reduction Sale. Get the pool your family has been begging for and save up to $7,000. Plus, get a free salt generator or 2 ledge loungers. 6 models to choose from while supplies last. At Burton Pools & Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Call, come by, or visit burtonpools.com. Burton Pools & Spas, where you can get your feet wet without getting in over your head.
How much life can you fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4?
Hon, can you grab me a swan float? They're in the RAV4.
The pink one or the yellow one?
How about 69.8 cubic feet for inflatable fun?
Want me to put the address in the RAV4's GPS?
No. I know exactly where yeah.
Thought so.
Up to 40 miles of uncharted terrain per gallon.
Get in the RAV4. Get in the RAV4. I did not expect mountain lions out here.
That's a cat.
But it's big though, right?
Yeah. Big kitty.
That's 37.7 inches of headroom for tall tales.
Hey, pull into that taco stand here. I'm starving. I'm grabbing 2 number 4s.
And grab 2 for me.
And 2 to 4 number 4s for the largest appetites. The numbers add up. It's amazing how much life you can fit in a 2022 Toyota RAV4. Visit your local dealer or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability. EPA estimate.
The company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates is looking for quality people to join the Fenceman team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fenceman. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fenceman is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
A pre-owned vehicle that won't break the bank? Good luck in this market.
But wait! Joe knows good deals. That's right, Joe could get you in a pre-owned car as low as $269 a month, or a truck starting at only $299 a month. Joe knows how to give you more for your trade and save your hard-earned cash. Come see Joe at the Crane Used Car Supercenter, because Joe knows. U.S. Highway 71 in Fort Smith.
Sometimes wounds just don't heal, and when they don't, reach out to the Tulsa Wound Center. They provide chronic wound care using all the latest technologies such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy, shockwave therapy, skin substitutes, and more. When it comes to life and limb, experience matters. Make sure you are being seen and treated by an experienced and certified wound physician. Founder and medical director Dr. Lam Lee has been a prominent wound care and hyperbaric physician for over 15 years. 10,000 patients can't be wrong. Online at TulsaWoundCenter.com or call 918-561-6661.
Searching for the best UTV on the market but can't find it with any of the big name brands? That's where the Intimidator comes in. An American brand using American-made steel and built in Arkansas. Intimidator UTVs offer premium components as standard, unlike those other companies. Items such as doors, skid plates, heavy-duty frames, and comfortable seating, all at one comparable price. See why Intimidator UTVs are the best choice by visiting your local dealer, Horns Outdoor in Hot Springs, or visit hornsoutdoor.net.
College football is almost here, and we're helping you get ready, as we do every season, with Arkansas Game Day, with a special one to start when Arkansas opens up against Cincinnati Saturday, September the 3rd. Now, we'll get things going at 9:30 a.m. Here's the deal. Tommy's going to be back in studio, Drew Barrett's going to be at Randall Ford, and I'm going to be at Sassy's Red House on College. Arkansas Game Day is always presented by Bud Light, and Curveball Whiskey is going to be at Sassy's Red House on College. Get ready for the opening game between Arkansas and Cincinnati with Arkansas Game Day. Heard live on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. About quarterbacks. Everyone here wants to know who the quarterback is, but I think it's a tactical advantage for us not to announce it.
Brian Kelly said this?
Yeah.
I think he actually, well, everybody here really wants to know who the quarterback is. Is that not how he said it?
I didn't listen to the quote. That probably is, though.
I declare.
Between Nussmeier
everybody interested in the quarterback, I declare.
He's had like 4 different accents since arriving in Baton Rouge. That's the battle that they got going, and I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I'd be surprised if they trotted Nussmeier out there against Florida State to start, but never know. Never know. Haynes Keene evidently is the starting quarterback for A&M. He sucked last year before he got injured, so that's good to know. Hopefully he didn't get any better. TJ Finley at Auburn, if he's their starting quarterback, I think you'll be okay this year. You'll probably snap that streak for the first time since 2012 in that stadium.
Auburn's people doesn't want Auburn to be any good.
No, they've got a coup right now in Auburn, Alabama, and trying to take down Brian Harsin. They just ousted Alan Green, their athletics director, and now Harsin, the writing's on the wall. It is going to be so glorious to be down there in Auburn, Alabama, to watch them finally. You have not won there since 2012. You hadn't beaten those guys since 2015.
Will Brian Harsin be the head coach when Arkansas plays Auburn?
I hope the Arkansas game is the one that gets him fired.
See, I think if he's going to the fact of where the bye is placed, which is the week before the Arkansas game, if you're going to make a midseason change, when do you logically make it? With a bye week, right? So wouldn't surprise me. Let's see, who do they have? If Ole Miss, let's see, Auburn's they're gonna beat Mercer. They should beat San Jose State, lose to Penn State. Well, they lost to Missouri. You could see a loss after, but that should be their third win. LSU should be a loss. Georgia will be a loss. If they lose 3 in a row, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, look for Harsin to be fired, going into the bye week, come out with a new head coach playing the Razorbacks. That's Hot Take Tuesday. That's my hot take today.
There won't be anyone in that stadium, too. They'll be
they'll be supporting the new coach. They'll be
you think so?
Oh, the interim, not the new coach, the interim coach, because then all the focus from, let's see, that'd be October 20. Well, they would make the change mid-October. Say that game with Ole Miss on the 15th. They make a change on the 16th. Boom. From then on, it's all about who the next head coach is going to be. Because Alan Green won't be hiring that head coach. They probably have their new AD in place. That's what I think is getting ready to happen. They're going to lose 3 in a row, headed into the bye week, interim coach, new energy, re-energization to play the Razorbacks.
If Arkansas loses to an interim coach down there in Auburn, I just might miss my flight back in Atlanta and walk home. I'd be so mad if they lost to an interim coach while I was down there. I'm excited to try that lemonade this year. No, that's an SEC question that I think is a fair one to pose. Will Brian Harsin be the head coach at Auburn when Arkansas comes down there October 29th, Halloween weekend? What is another question that you have for an SEC opponent that's on your schedule this year? Coach, player, overall team. What are you wanting answered, not just this Saturday, but the rest of the fall? I want to know if Brian Kelly in year one can do anything with that talent that's in the Bayou. LSU, last 3 coaches, they've won national championships. Brian Kelly, he's got a pretty good pedigree. Been to a couple college football playoffs, coached for a prestigious university like Notre Dame. But he said, you know what? We don't have enough talent up here to get it done. I got to go down there where I can win a national championship. Say what you want about LSU. You can win a national championship at LSU. You don't know if you can win a national championship at Arkansas yet. At least we don't know in football. Can he in year one have such a positive impact? They get Alabama at home this year. Can he give Saban a little run for his money first game in Death Valley? That's what I want to know. That's my biggest question mark this year.
Will Ole Miss start 7-0 this year? They're more than capable. You just look at that schedule. Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa. Ain't no reason they shouldn't win those first 4. Kentucky's a huge test, but it's in Oxford, October 1st. They can win that game. Vanderbilt and Auburn. That's your first 7 before you play LSU, before you play A&M, then you hit the bye. Tell me why Ole Miss shouldn't be 7-0 this year to start the year.
Because Altmaier and I keep wanting to say Corral and Dart are such a step off from Crab. You're asking me to give you a reason. That's your reason, that they are such a step back from that. Kentucky,
but even with that, look at this schedule,
Kentucky's the other reason. Yeah. Kentucky will probably be the second or third best team in the SEC East. Say what you want about the SEC East. Kentucky plays line of scrimmage ball. So if you want 2 reasons, if you say, Ty, you have to give me 2 reasons, Kentucky and their quarterback
Kentucky
situation
would be number 1 on my list. I agree. Kentucky's the toughest game of those first 7. I don't know a ton about Georgia Tech, but they should outclass all those teams with the exception of Kentucky, because I think we both agree they're better than Vandy. They're better than Auburn at this point. They're better than those 4 non-conference games. Kentucky's probably the team that's better than them, but that game's in Oxford. So, I mean, at worst, they should be 6-1. Everybody's going to be so, putting Ole Miss in their top 10. College football playoff talk, they're not going to have really played anybody. And then that last 4 weeks, Bama, Arkansas, they got a non-conference game with
No, they don't have it. No, it's all SEC games.
I'm looking at the wrong list here. It's all SEC games.
They'll lose. They might lose 5 straight. Tommy, they might start at 7-0.
LSU, then A&M.
They might go 0-5. LSU, A&M, bye, Bama, Arkansas, Mississippi State. They could lose 5 straight games. They could start 7-0 and then go 0-5 in the last 5 games. I don't think that's too out of the realm of possibility. They do have the luxury.
That would be glorious.
Yes. They do have the luxury of playing Mississippi State in Oxford this year, but a lot of people think Mississippi State's going to be better than Ole Miss. Rogers, you know what you have in him. Mike Leach, year 3. A lot of times that's gone well in Lubbock and not Pullman. Where's Washington State at? Putnam? Pullman, Washington.
Pullman,
Washington. Oh.
Well, we sound like we know what we're talking about.
I had it on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't spit it out. That's going to do it for your SEC update. It is brought to you by Ashley Air.
Hey, when you need a plumber, call the name you know and trust. That's Ashley Air. The same great people that take care of your heating and cooling system can also take care of your plumbing needs. Right now, $50 off any plumbing repair, or get a $129 drain cleaning and a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Some restrictions apply. Clogged drains or leaky faucets, there's only one place to call. That's Ashley Air. Go to ashley.air.com to schedule your plumbing service. That's ashley.air.com, proud sponsors of Razorback Athletics.
Good text in from Emmett in Springdale. We've seen this happen before, not too long ago. When do the Lane Kiffin to Auburn rumors begin? We saw it with Tommy Tuberville. Ole Miss? Oh, Auburn job open? See you later, Rep fans.
If Lane Kiffin truly has an eye on the Alabama seat someday, you don't go to Auburn, because you know what Alabama's not doing? Hiring a coach from Auburn to be their head coach. So if Lane Kiffin has a desire to follow Nick Saban or to be part of what's going on in Tuscaloosa, you don't go to the Plains. So that will be interesting to see if he even – is Auburn a better job than Ole Miss? Which one would you rather have? I'm not sure that's at best a toss-up. And I think Ole Miss is the better job.
Do you say that solely because who's coaching in the state, or do you say that if Nick Saban is not the head coach?
But Nick Saban is the head coach, and he has a contract through 2030, and there's no reason to believe he's not going to coach at least the next 5 seasons.
But that's what I'm asking. Are you basing that off of?
I'm basing it on the fact that if I'm at Auburn, I've got Alabama and Nick Saban on one side of me, and I got Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs on the other side of me, and I got to play them both.
That's a good point.
Every year, and I've got to deal with the recruiting from both of them every year.
Okay.
And proximity to Georgia is just as great as it is to Alabama as far as the realities of recruiting. I think the Ole Miss job and the expectations at Auburn are just unrealistic.
Okay.
So I think Ole Miss is the better job.
So here's where I would come back on that. Ole Miss has never been to an SEC championship and never won the SEC, right? So if that's the case, even without Nick Saban, why hasn't someone done that? Vaught didn't do it. Lane's probably not going to do it. If that's the case, if your logic is that, which makes sense, and I agree, then why even before Kirby and before Nick, they couldn't get it done?
No, your question was about Kiffin and his name being linked and rumored to that job. My point is, if you want to be the next head coach at Alabama, you don't go to Auburn for that reason, number one. You're right. Ole Miss can't get it done. They were the Henry Heave away from getting to the title game, but they've proven you can get to the top 5. They're, all you got to do is have the right personnel. I think they got a good coach. I mean, say what you want about Lane Kiffin. He's a good football coach. He's a good offensive mind. I think he's going to struggle this year with staff turnover, creating a problem, but he's got the right schedule for that. We just went over the schedule, so I just don't know that Auburn is some leaps and bounds destination better right now than Ole Miss. Not currently.
Here's what I'll say. Say what you want about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's a competitor. He said, you know what? How do I win a national championship? I have to go to the SEC and compete with this guy. Lincoln Riley's a candy ass. He saw what was coming. He saw what was on the rise, and he jumped ship. He's gone. I don't want to have to deal with Nick Saban. I don't want to have to deal with Kirby Smart. I don't want to have to deal with the SEC. I think if you're a competitor, you don't care what your competition is. If you want to win, you want to win. You may say, well, this is easier. Tommy, Auburn's been to a national championship in 2010, 2013, went to the SEC championship. So even with all that, they've still had more success in the last just decade over Ole Miss, and since the SEC has been established. So if you
but
want
also in that
play,
Georgia wasn't at the level they're at now.
Fair. But if you want to play devil's advocate, Auburn in the last decade has had more success than Ole Miss. Ole Miss has had the
Inarguable.
number 1 or number 2 ranking, whatever it was. I think they were number 2 and State was number 1. That is their heyday. And they got 10 regular seasons win last year, which is the first time ever they've had that. Ever.
All right, we're brought to you this morning by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. The best brands, the best prices, always great service. Lee J, Chris, and their entire crew, whether it's in the service department in the back or whether you're walking on the lot at Wheels RV for the first time, they are going to take care of you with the kind of customer service you expect. It's all at Wheels RV, and by the way, you get a lifetime warranty on every new RV they sell. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, and discover with Wheels RV.
Want to remind everyone, Chuck is going to be back with us tomorrow. And if you missed any of the show yesterday, his new podcast, the Gimme the Hogs Chuck podcast, premieres this Friday at 6 a.m. This Friday at 6 a.m., you're going to get a chance to hear Chuck on his podcast right here on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. For Tommy Kraft, Drew Barrett, Tom Murphy, Tyson Morris, and Bruce Stanton, I'm Ty Richardson. Everyone have a great Toyota Tuesday. 4 days out from Arkansas football taking on Cincinnati. We'll get a chance to talk to the players tonight.
When you need a plumber, call the name you know and trust. Ashley Air. The same great people that take care of your heating and